There we go.
Nope.
I fixed it.
Oh, we have 5. There.
No,
okay.
I fixed
There
it.
it is.
Hello.
Oh no.
Welcome to the Voice of Bat. What's an oh no?
No, I just realized my background is
Oh.
white, so it's fine. I'll
Hello.
just
Hello. Welcome to the Voice of Atlas
Hola.
podcast, where we're full of technical difficulties because that's
What's new?
Yeah. Hey, welcome.
We promise
Yes.
we'll be more professional when we have like more serious people on. Don't worry.
We're trying. We're trying.
We
Real hard.
will try much harder.
But anyway, thank you guys for tuning into the Voice of Atlas podcast. I am Amazing Nikender.
Hi, Nick. Or Laiba, go.
I'm Laiba Hazara, also known as Mixed and Anxious on TikTok.
I am Victoria. You can find me everywhere at Victoria Organa.
And I am the Marvelous Johnny. Y'all can find me on TikTok as just Marvelous Johnny. Remember, that is Marvelous with 2 L's because that is the correct spelling.
That was the worst game of popcorn ever.
Popcorn. I know the food. What is the game called popcorn?
That's never something that's ever been. That's never a term you used in English class. Where, like,
No.
I'm a popcorn to blah blah blah, and you would just like start.
I didn't
I'll
pay
pass
attention
the
in English
baton.
class.
Is that like a?
That was one of those classes that I just had to get through.
Oh,
You
okay.
know?
Oh wait.
It was
also
like
before,
my math, but math was fun.
I love
English was not fun.
Yeah, I hated math. Like,
English was pretty.
I hated
fun.
math so
No
much.
popcorn in
Yeah.
Canada.
I liked English when we got to write, like creative writing. That's where I shine.
yeah, that's my jam. I love
That
that.
See,
was
that's
my
what
jam.
y'all are good at.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I love
I'm not
creative
good at writing
writing.
essays.
I can't-
I mean, now I am.
I can't like I can't talk myself into like making 2 + 2 not equal 4. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I hate math. It's the absolute
Okay.
nature of it all.
See, that's why I like it, because there's only one answer and you get it right or you get it wrong. There's no up for interpretation. The only writing that I do is corporate jargon.
Yeah.
See here, I did math
I'm good at
and it felt
professional
good because I
emails.
felt smart when all my white friends were in here and just like, Johnny, we need the answers. Please help us. I'm like, okay, here's my homework.
When you
Yeah.
go
And
to
like,
school for
I
engineering,
guarantee you
it's-
guys, I'm the only reason why they passed high school math.
I got 100 in one of my classes, but then I went to university and then I got like a 56 on my first semester of math. So it was very jarring,
First
especially as
semester
an
is
Asian
always
person
hard.
who is always really good at math.
Guys, I dropped out. Okay, I don't know what you want me to say. I will say this: we are our show, Voice of Atlas, is available on Spotify. There is no math on there. You can just
No
go
math.
there and enjoy us
No,
on
no,
Spotify.
no. There's some math. There's some math. You have to give us 5 stars.
Yeah, we number the.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
You
there
have
is.
to count
yeah,
to
yeah,
5.
You got to do
You
a little
have
bit
to
of
count to
fractions.
5.
You got to count to 5 on Apple Podcasts, where you can rate our show.
And on Spotify now, you can rate people on
Oh, you
Spotify.
can. That's
You
new
can.
stuff.
Or at
I
least like
have-
give a thumbs up. I
Do
saw.
it.
Yeah, do
I
that.
rated us.
I
You
rated
should rate
us.
us.
Y'all should rate us.
But you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube, and our brand new Discord server, which we have updated. And it is all shiny and fun, and everyone's
It's
in
very
there.
I
I've
love
been
everyone that's in there.
Yeah, I've been having a blast on there. I'm developing
The
a toxic streak.
emotes.
The
The
emotes.
Johnny
emotes are
has a-
beautiful.
Johnny
you can
has a
sub
new-
to us
new
on
emote.
Twitch. The emotes are available
Yeah.
there, and they're fantastic.
My emote is honestly just me.
It is. It really
It
is.
might as
just
well
Johnny.
All of ours fit our personalities to
day.
a T.
The
Right?
day that I get a Moon Knight cosplay, I will just have giant fake tears and tape them to my face.
Yeah,
It'll be
it is,
perfect.
they are all. I updated it, so we're all set to go with that. Look at that! Look at that beautiful emote train of just Johnny. So those are all updated. We also got badges on the channel now, so I don't know when those will be implemented, but we do have those. Thank you so much for the follow. It's
Thank you.
I can't speak. It's
Valmera.
Valmera. Valmera. Thank you so much for the follow.
Maybe.
Hello, and hello to all of our new watchers today. We had a couple today.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
check
Oh,
us out
yeah.
on all those other platforms. Join the Discord, and you can also find us on Stream Lounge, where we watch together. We watch a bunch of things together. Victoria and Laiba both just watched "Always Be My Maybe"
Always be
yesterday.
my
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
Next,
It was so good.
Yeah,
and next week we're watching Free Guy.
yeah.
This is a
free
sneak
guy.
peek of
gonna
what
be awesome.
I look like watching Always Be My Maybe.
It's so cute. Oh, and next week before the show on Thursday, I will be watching Shang-Chi for my 100th day
Yeah.
In a row.
in a row.
Oh,
double feature next week with Free Guy and Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Oh
Wednesday
no,
and
Shang-Chi,
Thursday.
and then the day after it'll be me, Shang-Chi, and then it'll be the show. There we go.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Shout outs to It's Valmarais. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Apparently, that's the person you met yesterday, Johnny, who took a picture of you.
Oh,
That's so
hey,
cool.
what's up, buddy?
Yeah, that's cool.
It was awesome meeting
Apparently,
you.
Johnny is famous
Dude,
enough
Johnny
to
is
get
famous.
recognized.
Yeah.
I
have never
stand
had the
by
pleasure.
Nick's because I was trying to figure this out. Like, how do people recognize me? Because I'm standing inside an A&W
tall.
near a train, just ordering food on my break, and then someone's just like, "Are you Johnny from TikTok?" I'm like, "Yes."
It's
Are you someone who's mad at me for some of my takes? I swear. And then it just turns out it's someone who likes me. I'm like, oh, thank God.
That's fun.
It was very nice meeting you, by the way, pal.
Yeah.
I find it so impressive when people recognize other people's faces.
I try
especially
not to
when I'm
look at
just half
anybody.
I
Just-
I can't.
I
I
like to
doubt
put blinders
myself,
on.
and I'm just like, I think too hard about it, and I'm like, is that what a face looks like?
Yeah.
Did I really go to high school with this person? I swear they look different.
But yeah, no, Nick, I think it's your 6'3" reason.
Yeah. He really is
Helpful.
6'3". That's pretty wild. I don't.
Yeah. I was also near Chinatown, though, so could have
God.
been any random Asian
It's a vibe.
person.
It's a vibe.
It's a
No,
vibe.
you have a look.
Hmm.
You look like Johnny.
I'm a
I think
distinguishable
we have
Asian.
you have a bot in here, I think.
Yeah, I got rid of it.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I think. All right. Well, there you go.
We have a mod.
Yeah, we got to get mods in here. We need mods, people,
Yeah.
which we'll discuss after
Let
the
us
show.
know if you want to be our mod.
Yeah, let us know if you want to be our mod. Anyway, how's everyone's been today? How's you been, everyone? That doesn't
So-
include math, Johnny's height, or whatever you had for lunch.
I recently watched Jackass.
No, how was that?
Oh, I don't
Very
get that
entertaining.
movie.
It's very
I don't
entertaining.
get
I
it.
don't get it either.
It was a lot of penises.
I saw that.
There was a lot
I
of
watched.
dick.
Yeah,
I watched like the first 20 minutes of the first one, and I didn't
Oh, I love the
understand it.
first one.
I couldn't watch the trailer because it was all over the trailers, like
Hmm.
all in the fall, and I couldn't. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then I started memorizing it because it played every time.
What's funny is that I'm very arachnophobic, and there was a spider in the movie.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I remember
really
that from the
close
trailer,
up
yeah.
to it, and I'm just like legs on seat next to my friend, and she's just like having the time of her life, watching me, just like
Yeah.
just screaming, like
I
peeking
feel like
every 2
I
seconds.
would pay the movie price to see you act like that.
Yeah. I think I get the idea. Like, people want to watch Jackass for like the stunts and stuff, but like it's like borderline uncomfortable. Like, I don't know if I
was-
can.
Yeah.
It was actually
Very
uncomfortable to some
Yeah.
degree. It was kind of funny though with how uncomfortable I got.
Yeah. Because like,
Just
why
because
would
I like, you never think about some of these things, but then like when you see it, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. I don't. I would pay to go be uncomfortable in a room.
I mean, hey, I watch horror films here, so
That's true. What about you, Victoria? How's your been?
You know, my bin is good. I went to the office for the first time in 2 years, retrieved all my stuff because I don't get to keep a desk anymore. Anyways,
Yeah.
but I got my dirty mug that I left February
For 2 years.
2020 back.
Dang.
And it was surprisingly less gross than I expected. It was just dry.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh,
probably
okay.
dry coffee in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because I was out of the house, I bought hair dye, and now I match
May May.
Yeah.
May
and
Lee.
turning red. So that is going to be coming on March 11th, and
Yeah.
I am ready now.
Yeah.
Disney.
Absolutely.
I'm
We're
only
waiting.
one piece of clothing away from my cosplay being done.
Right.
All I
Yeah.
need is like a skirt, and I'm there. I'm done.
Disney.
It's
Where's
gonna
that
be
PR
so
box for
good.
Come on,
Victoria?
Disney. Send the VR.
We
That
know you
PR
see
box.
her.
Come
we
on.
know you see her. I tagged
You copied our
Random people
emotes.
on
Yeah.
Instagram tag them, and
Yeah.
they're like, Disney Pixar turning red. Check out this kind of
Yeah.
content and support it. I'm like, this
Like,
is really nice.
Yeah.
It's the
Radiant
year for
Red.
red.
Red,
No, we
It
can make it
is.
happen. We can make it happen. Nick
You're
with
a
Radiant
vent.
Red. Amanda with No Way Home.
I see your red. Yeah. All of it's red. Every single one of it.
Red.
Laiba,
I mean, I'm thinking of dyeing my hair red, but
yeah.
so-
Well, Laiba, how's your
and-
been with that? Turning your hair red as well?
It's so good. I've had a really good bin. It's been great.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
bin is ever so related to our topic today too, which is the best part.
Yeah.
It is. It
Good
is.
bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my bin has been very radiant. That's my that's a pretty
you can
accurate
see the
representation.
radiance on your face.
Oh
there.
yeah. Also, today was actually my last day of work, so
Oh.
I'm feeling very like free right now.
Laiba, stop messing with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Before the show, Laiba like pulled out like this Yu-Gi-Oh card, and it's like worth money, and like I was like uncomfortable with how she was treating it, because like her brother used to live there. It is like if you're watching, she's her brother used to play
Pulling
Yu-Gi-Oh.
out Yu-Gi-Oh card stuff, taunting
Yeah.
Nick, threatening him by cutting them.
Yeah. So she's like stressing me out. Don't stop, please. Don't do this.
I'll put it away.
Starts bending it like, oh.
Yeah, no, not a fun time. But other than that, yeah, like I feel like a free person because I just did my last shift at the coffee shop I worked at, and now I'm free. Now my coffee is no longer free. I have to brew coffee from home.
I mean, your partner works in a Starbucks.
Yeah, but also
It's not
they're
good
like
coffee,
way
but
too
it's
far,
coffee.
and like I just it's
Cold
not
by
as
the time you get
accessible.
home.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not as
fair enough,
accessible
fair
to me. Just walk in and like pull 3 shots, and I'm like, all right, I'm in it, you know. And then by the end of the day, I'm like 12 shots in. I'm not. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, when I worked at Starbucks and we had nitro cold brew at my store, we would just take shots of
Ooh.
nitro cold
I mean,
brew.
you can just
I love
use
nitro cold
your
brew.
future discounts on pre-made coffee.
Yeah.
So.
Or you can shotgun cold brew like I do. That's how you know you're in it
Oh,
for
right.
life.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah. So
That's great.
there you go. That's our bin, everybody. Hope you guys' bin is
Yeah.
doing
Hope y'all
well.
enjoy hearing that update on our lives.
Yeah. On today's episode, we encourage chat interaction and what is this? I'm on the wrong thing.
Especially for this episode.
Yeah.
I definitely think.
Yeah. We're
Yes.
having a little bit of an open conversation. So we encourage chat interaction to stay on topic, which our topic is Asian
in
representation in media. I think this is probably the core reason as why we started this podcast.
Yeah.
It's always nice
It's
to
gonna be
revisit
the
it.
wokest episode you
This
guys
is the
will
wokest,
hear.
dude. So woke.
The woke
So woke.
agenda is here.
We're gonna get
getting
politics involved in everything, bro.
Yeah, we're so political
Bro,
today.
so woke that I
Right.
don't set
we
the
have
you
bar
guys
when I
women,
go to
we have
about
bed.
it.
Asians. What else?
If you guys think about
do
it, we
have?
are our Asian rep.
Yeah.
We're in
We
media
are.
right now.
We're
Exactly.
making our
We're
own
Asian.
representation.
According
We
to
are the
Gabriel
change we
Luna,
want to see.
we're canon to the MCU.
Exactly.
are.
Our Asian
We
rep
are.
is canon in the MCU.
Yeah. So
Gabriel Luna, come on the show.
Yeah, Gabriel Luna, come on the show.
Please.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, come on.
Please.
Come
been
on.
a
We're ready
while.
to get.
It's been a
You know what?
while.
We'll prove
Come on,
ourselves.
Gabe.
We will
Where you
prove
at, bro?
ourselves, Gabe.
Okay.
Come on,
We will
Remember when
Gabe.
we
prove
met up-
ourselves. We will get in like some big creator or someone like that within like the next month or so, and then you'll see. You'll come onto the show.
Remember when we met up at that comic book shop, Gabe?
I
That was
did.
SD.
You called
Actually,
the
he
Laiba a
probably
darling.
remembers.
He probably
He
will.
probably does.
Yeah, he
He
absolutely
probably
does.
does.
Yeah, you had a good conversation.
And you took
Me
a
too.
video. I don't remember a lot of celebrities
Exactly.
taking
And
videos.
he called you darling.
And he called you darling. So
Laiba's turning red.
yeah, what a fun time.
I'll turn into a red panda.
I was gonna say.
Right, meow. I'm just throwing it out there, Steven Yeun in the upcoming Jordan Peele movie. That'd be cool, actually.
Oh yeah.
I'm-
He
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah, I was
excited.
really surprised and happy to see him in there. I thought it was
Yeah,
really
same.
fun.
Yeah. It looks really cool.
Yeah,
Now-
Excited.
freaked me out.
Also, Swifty Wicket was saying Amphibia made them cry as a Southeast Asian with the representation. I
Mhm.
haven't seen the show, but I've
We'd like to
have
see
some
that.
friends cosplaying that show
Oh,
Ooh.
fun. We're gonna talk a lot
on
about
my watch list.
Asian rep. Do we have a Canadian knowledge test for me?
Laiba, I think you still had one from last week.
Because like talking about
I?
inclusion, let's include the one person that isn't Canadian.
I mean, that's
So,
just
is
you're
there
still
one-
North
is
there
American.
one for me?
You're still North American like the rest of us.
Hold on.
Let me think.
Oh.
Also, remember that wreckage beach you were telling Nick about, Victoria?
Oh, the barge.
Yeah,
Barge
we're getting
chilling
rid of it.
beach.
Yeah,
You guys
We're
are getting rid of
of-
barge chilling
Oh.
beach.
not
Apparently,
La
we're
Push.
getting rid of barge chilling beach, which is unfortunate.
I don't know what that
God.
is. It doesn't sound
I
like a
don't-
real thing.
I
I
don't
remember,
think
like,
I
last
have
time-
anything.
It's
All I
fine.
remember is last. No, it's not fine. It's not fine.
I'm still trying to get over the double thing, where you guys call it coffee.
You know what? That is a coffee, and same way you will never know whether or not. Wait, no, I did tell you. Yeah, because last week I told Nick that like if you say sorry, that's not you admitting fault in law.
Right. I remember that
Yeah.
part. That was actually.
Yeah.
I thought that was ridiculous because it's like that's no. I'm very careful when I talk. So. Well, there you go, guys.
Canadians would
Okay,
say
you know
sorry
what?
to
I got one. I found
tables
one
that we bump
online.
into.
Okay, what is
Okay,
it, Johnny? What
go
are you
for
gonna
it.
gaslight with me today?
So Nick, do you know the Santa Claus?
Yeah, I know the Santa Claus. Yeah,
You
sure.
know of the Santa Claus?
Yeah,
Do you know what his address is?
I don't. The North Pole. That's just.
I mean, yes, it is in the North Pole, but technically it is addressed to Canada
Why? Doesn't make any sense.
because we're really far up north, dude.
Is
Yeah.
that like the closest thing to the North Pole?
I mean, that or Alaska, I guess, but like Alaska's not a real place.
Alaska is well. I guess not. Yeah. Okay. Is that real? Is what you're asking me?
Yeah,
I mean, I believe it. Probably.
yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
You think Santa Claus?
I mean,
address
yeah,
is
because
in
then it's
Canada?
like, oh yeah, look, it snows. Like, oh, my kids can send letters to Santa. Why not? That's.
Yeah.
Is there an official?
Okay, well, according to this Apple board on Google, it says it is.
Okay, well there you go. Santa. You telling me Santa's Canadian?
I mean, no. I've always had the mindset that Santa Claus is Asian, because no one else has that commitment or drive to get shit done like Asian people. You
That's
know,
true.
Santa Claus is Asian. Have y'all seen Fresh Off the Boat? There's the joke of Laiba Santa, which is just boss man Santa. That's the real Santa.
Okay.
Oh man, I love the idea. Like, it kind of getting into today's topic of like, who do you headcanon as Asian?
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
you
that's
headcanon
Oh,
good
I actually have like
Santa
a good
as
topic for
Asian.
that. Yeah. That's,
Number 3.
well, number 3
Yeah.
is just
No,
flat out Asian.
she's definitely Asian.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, you
she
know
is
who
confirmed
else?
Asian. Who?
You know who else? Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Interesting.
mean, what is it? The CW show was gonna make a live action Powerpuff Girls. I don't know if it's still gonna happen.
I don't think it's happening anymore.
But
One
they
of them
casted Chloe Bennet, who's half Asian, as
left as Blossom.
Blossom. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Dang.
I think Blossom's the one that left.
Yeah, Chloe Bennett left. Dove Cameron's still attached to the project, as well as the other actors, but Chloe Bennett left. I don't know if it's still gonna happen. We'll see. But there's
I don't
shit
think so.
filmed. The scripts got leaked. It was
I
interesting.
saw it.
Yeah,
Not
that
fun.
was interesting.
That was a
I'm
wild
not
time.
gonna lie, I had a laugh reading them.
Yeah.
Definitely, at least like in terms of comic books and stuff, I still like to headcanon Loki and Kate Bishop as Asian,
Yeah.
or at least mixed to some degree.
Yeah.
It's basically any white person with black hair.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
definitely headcanon them as Asian because, like, why not?
Right. Yeah.
Like, when it's like black straight hair and it's just like, and everybody else is white. Like, no, that's an Asian person to me.
Yeah.
Because where's the flavor?
Where's the flavor, bro? Where's the
Name.
spice at?
Especially when it's like the like has nothing to do with the race of the story. It's like Loki's an Asgardian. Okay,
Yeah.
he can be Asian.
Loki
Why
can be
not?
black. He can be Asian.
He can be anything, but like he's mostly depicted in the comics with black hair. So like,
Exactly.
why not?
It
And same with Kate
happened-
Bishop. Like, okay, like she has like crime people in her family, whatever. It's just like, but her race isn't really a big thing. I mean, she's like an entitled white girl. I get it, but like, she
We
could be
have
Asian.
entitled Asian
Yeah, yeah.
kids. I
Yeah.
definitely see them. The
I-
ones rolling
I
around
know-
in Teslas near my house. Motherfuckers.
Yeah, I see. I always find that there's like that disparity too of like, my university had a lot of Asian people in there and international students or people who's immigrated and whatever because engineering, right? But talking to some of my friends who went, because there's like the two ways that Asians really come to Canada in like recent times is like you want a better life or you have a fuck ton of money
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the dollars go farther here.
Yeah.
And at least my dad's family came sponsored by like an Anglican church in Quebec or something. Hearing that difference of that entitlement, insane. Like shopping for a car, I was like, oh, I'm looking for a car. It's like, oh, you know, Audis are pretty nice. And I'm like, you don't realize I'm looking at used
Yeah.
car.
Mhm.
See,
They think we have the money sometimes. We really
Yeah.
don't. I can barely afford gas here, but then again, I live in BC,
Yep.
where it's 180.9.
Oh God.
that numbers
Mm.
don't. I thought we were away from the
I think-
math.
I checked yesterday. I think it was one for me. It was 149.9.
I
Wow.
hate you. 159 is like my ideal pricing BC.
Jesus Christ. See, mine's is like five something, $5 and like 3 cents or something.
Still
It,
pretty
like
good
ranges
price.
between
That's
like
not bad. That's not bad.
$4, $4 to like $5 is what I've been
Okay.
ranging to. But like going
Speaking
back
of-
to what like
yeah.
Victoria said, like how
Asian coded characters.
Asian coded characters, like, well, like I stand with that logic. It's like if they have black hair and like if they have like black straight hair, like, yeah, like why can't they just like be coded as Asian? Like they did it with Invincible, the main character.
Yeah.
And now he's the child of Sandra Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like super cool. I thought that was super cool.
Oh, yeah.
When I heard that happen and I watched the show and I was like, it doesn't change anything except make me feel like
You feel seen.
yeah, I feel seen.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it could only add to
It
the
only adds
story
more to it,
too.
yeah.
Like you can add more complexity and stuff that like didn't exist for that
Mhm.
character before if it was just like non-specific or
Mhm.
non-racial or anything.
Funny
Yeah.
enough, I've always like even back when Doctor Strange first came out, because that's a character I always thought was in some way Asian.
Mhm.
Oh, he totally
know?
could be Asian.
Because like if you look
Yes.
at his first ever appearance, he has the narrow eyes, he has the black hair. You know, he's
Mhm.
but like he was a mystical character, which at the time was usually associated with Asian people in some manner. And also, you know, it would make the wand servant stuff a little bit less problematic, in my opinion.
and because
Yeah.
the ancient one was also
Tibetan
Asian.
and all that,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I love that idea, but like, nothing against Benedict Cumberbatch. I love him as Doctor Strange.
Oh,
If
he
was
has the
Asian, though.
arrogance on point.
Exactly.
I
But
really do.
to have him be Asian would have been so cool.
It
Cause
would.
yeah,
Sorry,
you
I
know.
was
Is
fixing
is
that.
there an American film that you guys know that has good Asian representation?
Always Be no wait. Yeah, no, I mean Always Be My Baby is one of them.
I mean, yeah, we talked about this yesterday. How it
Crazy
kind
Rich
of
Asians.
it goes against the typical Asian stereotypes, like with his
Asian
dad.
stoners.
Yeah.
Asian stoners,
Yeah.
his dad, and how like his dad wasn't really like restricting him,
Mhm.
and he's actually pushing him to do
Yeah.
what he wants to do. So it really does go against those
Actually,
stereotypes.
to add on to that one because of the dad, movie with the same dad, was it Love Hard?
Oh, really?
Love
I
Hard.
didn't watch
Yeah,
that one.
Love Hard
Yeah.
was also really good. But like, yeah, with Always Be My Baby, it was so refreshing to see because like there was there was enough Asian people in the film. You had
You had
all of the
Randall
different
Park.
personalities. You like, and
You
it
had
also
Keanu Reeves, who's
really
also
had
Asian.
a lot of healing too,
Yeah.
which not a lot of movies really address, especially when it comes to like parents working a lot or being too focused in their work or not being around as much, because I know that's a very common thing too, of like it's all work, not much
Not really family
showing
time.
love or family time or whatever
Yeah.
in that way, because the way that they're trying to show your love is by providing for you and putting a roof over your head and like getting you the best schooling and stuff.
Mhm.
So it was like really nice to see at the end of that movie there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of like self-work and
There's just a lot of
stuff
love.
going on,
Mhm.
and it was really nice to see, like, because you don't get that in a lot of movies, let alone rom-coms, of like seeing
Mhm.
people work on themselves,
Yeah.
take some time, and then like be able to have a healthy relationship again. It was really great for everyone to watch
What-
too.
What's great is that part of Always Be My Baby is actually filmed in Vancouver.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the
Yeah.
restaurant scene when he's talking to the Asian ladies there and they're just giving him some free food.
Mhm.
That's a
Mhm.
restaurant in
Oh yeah.
in
Oh,
Vancouver.
yeah.
I've been there.
Oh,
That's
sick.
fun.
Love that.
That's cool.
The one thing about that movie that's like that I really like is just the complexity of like what similar to what Victoria said, the complexity between like both the characters, and just like watching it, I felt like, okay, both of their like lifestyles are valid, but
Mhm.
like because of like who they are and like them falling in love and stuff like that, it's like I didn't feel like any of them was right, you know?
Mhm.
Like I understood where Randall Park's character was. It's like, this is my life. This is who I am. This is what I want to do.
I want to be around my
I want to be
family.
around my
like,
family. I don't want to
Yeah.
leave. And like I felt
You
like
best
that.
believe I punched Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Like I've definitely felt like that. And then Ellie Wong's character is much more like, you know, keep moving forward. We got to keep moving.
Yeah. Go,
Live-
go.
Get,
Yeah.
Go, go,
Like,
go. Live in your success. And it's like, I think a part of me was like, I don't like that. But I think that's because I related more to like Randall Park's character, where I was like, I understand where he's coming from. And then it got really deep and complex. You know, it's like, well, why can't they find a solution that like involves both of them being happy when she was like buying all his merch?
We talked. Yeah.
yeah.
We talked about that.
So it's, if you guys have, is the VODs available for the stream launch?
Yep.
It should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I
Should
can
be,
go
yeah.
So
watch
if
it
you're on
right now if
stream
I want
launch,
to.
go ahead and
Go
go watch
rewatch it.
that.
I sadly wasn't there yesterday because I was working, but I'm probably gonna go back to it tonight. So
It was a gals' night.
It was a
Also,
gal's
just like
night.
the fact too, like I mean, it's a lot more common when you see Asian representation in media and how important our food culture is.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
yeah.
oh my god, yeah, that movie also like kind of hits it on the head too with like how food and family is really, or that's how like you show love to your family, and like the whole ending gesture was around like honoring his mom and stuff, and it's just
That's
just
sweet.
so relatable too. It's just the fact like you because you can't really get that kind of food unless you're at home.
Yeah.
And it reminds you of home.
I think
Yeah.
I had sinigang the other day. I think I told you guys that I had sinigang for my grandma the other day, and I almost cried drinking it, like eating it, because like I hadn't had it in such a long time, and I brought it home, and I was like, "Dang, this is you can't
This
you
is
can't
the
get
stuff.
this,
Mhm.
yeah." And this is not like
Yeah.
takeout; it's very like reminiscent. And I keep telling myself like I should
Yeah.
probably go learn those recipes.
Yeah.
yeah, you should.
Go
keep
go
those
ask
alive.
like go spend some
Yeah,
time
go.
with
Yeah.
your grandma.
My
and
mom cooks a
learn
lot,
it.
and I have begged her to just write down everything she's ever
Mhm.
cooked, so that
Yeah.
like one day when she's gone, I can at least like
Get her to teach you and
try.
make videos for yourself.
I
Because-
like my mom's taught me how to make her her wontons and all that, and like even like looking back, like my grandma wasn't very technologically advanced and all that, and so much is just gone now because of her absence, and I'm just like, fuck, I miss her
Mhm.
tofu soup and
Right.
shit like that,
Yeah.
you know.
What I love about Always Be My Maybe is that like you can see how like through her cooking she kind of got whitewashed, like she
Mhm.
kind of adjusted to that culture,
Mhm.
like she
No, I
just
think
like
they
Asian
explicitly call it
fusion.
out. Randall Park's character was
Yeah,
like,
he did.
Like,
you're
He's
trying
like,
to
look at
elevate
this
it,
that
but
you're trying to
like
do.
Yeah, and then at
This
the end you
isn't-
saw like the hearty, like authentic, and it's
Yeah.
so good. Like
Mhm.
even when I was watching it, I was like looking at her cooking, like at the ones at the restaurants, and I was like, that does not look great.
Yeah.
But then towards the end, you're like, oh, it looks amazing.
yeah.
the tofu
Yeah.
soups and the kimchi and oh my god.
There's a place called Tai Fung that I like going to, and like, yeah, it's good food. It's delicious. Trust me, it's like
They got good spicy wontons.
they do, yeah, they absolutely do. But like going
the
there
same.
and then like going to a traditional dim sum place, it's like night and day. You know, it's like
It
I'll
is.
always rather go to the dim sum, like the traditional dim sum place, not because it's
Yeah.
cheaper, but just because like it just
You can taste the love.
you can taste
Captures
it.
Yeah,
and
you can taste the
you can
love.
taste like
Yeah.
it just tastes so much better. Obviously it's not as good for you, but still like it's like you just
MSG.
MSG,
It's
yeah.
salt on Coke.
Yeah.
It's flavor. Okay.
good, man. Now I'm
I
Very
hungry.
vow that we will
interesting.
get
Super
Uncle Roger
hungry
on the
now.
show. I vow that we'll get Uncle Roger on the show, and
Oh.
as am I, because I have not eaten at all yet today, really.
Let's
But
get
just
Roy Choi on the show.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
bro.
to
oh my god.
circle back to where we're at, making sure we're hitting all our points today. We're
Yeah.
not here to invalidate any group experiences, right? Like obviously we all speak from our own personal experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
We're not coming at this with any form of malice.
Yeah.
We're talking
Yeah.
about
yeah, and our
It's
goal,
all just personal,
you know,
how we see it and how we
Mhm.
feel and
yeah.
how
Yeah.
we've been treated.
And if you
Uh-oh.
And
disagree
that's
with
the only
us,
way to get representation out is
Yeah.
to speak for yourself
Yeah.
and not anyone else.
exactly. And we're open to talking to other people about this stuff. Like if you disagree with us, great. Be respectful.
Let us know.
guarantee you a bunch of us will be more than happy to talk to you about
amen.
it.
I never
Yeah.
shut up. I love talking.
That's
But
why I
with
got this.
oh yeah, don't.
You
I was
just
like
shaking
holding-
it made my
I
teeth
was, I was
grind.
holding that Blue Eyes White Dragon to my face. I was like, you better listen.
You better listen here.
But yeah, obviously we're not here to invalidate any groups or opinions. With that, like, and where the current state of the world is, right? COVID has kind of reflected kind of negative ideas upon like Asian people. We've seen a lot of negativity towards, Asian groups in the last 2 years. Even, I
Yeah.
mean, it's always
It's been
existed.
2 full years.
It's always
Yeah.
been there.
It's
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
existed, but like,
Yeah.
especially with
It's
the
just-
pandemic, it's been,
added to the hate.
And your
anger.
former president too, I think, drove a lot of
yeah,
that hate.
The Kung Flu,
yeah, is
Flu, Chinese,
the
not
China
fun.
virus.
China virus, all that stuff, and it's really unfortunate timing because we knew about a lot of these projects
Mhm.
with Asian representation being in the works, and then have like this rhetoric of
This
hate
surge of
campaign.
hate and
Yeah.
displeasure
Yeah.
and desire to like just provide zero support for us.
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
it definitely, I feel like it had an effect on how these movies performed
Oh, yeah.
and
Mhm.
marketed and everything, because if it wasn't for the pandemic and there wasn't this extra added fear around just Asian people existing near you,
Mhm.
it's like, would this have done better?
Yeah.
Would
But
the
I-
marketing team have pushed it more?
Mhm.
Were they
But I
being
do
cautious?
stand by the fact that the victories we've gained though are that much more important.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
look at Shang-Chi. It might not be the highest grossing MCU movie, but the fact that first off, it didn't premiere in China, which is one of the most important worldwide box offices to gain. The fact that it had the reach
Same
that
with
it did.
Eternals too.
Eternals, right?
Eternals.
It's
I mean, they-
directed by a Chinese immigrant.
Right.
Mhm.
So yeah, and yeah, it also didn't get the China box office numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
take
'cause that
that,
one
No
also
Way
we had
Home.
so many. Well, we had like Gemma Chan, and we also had
Gemma Chan.
Kumail.
Yeah.
Too. So like, we got more than one Asian, and who plays Gilgamesh?
Yeah.
Don Lee.
Don
Don
Lee.
Lee's
Yeah. Don Lee.
Gilgamesh too. Like we had multiple
My dad.
Asian
Everyone's
leads,
dad.
and it was so.
And like just look like, let's also look at like these smaller things, because like if it weren't like, I'm not trying to add light and be this toxic positivity towards what's happening to us, but in many ways it's helped led to this podcast as well, right? Because if we weren't fighting as hard as we were for Shang-Chi, for Eternals, for this representation, would we still have this podcast? I would
No,
like to
we
think
fought
I
yes,
don't
hard.
want to think about that.
but
Don't-
to some
We fought.
degree,
It's
it
a silver
definitely helped
lining
push.
thing. I feel like it would have happened eventually, but
Maybe not
it-
with us, maybe with another group, but
Yeah.
you guys get us.
or even maybe with us. Who knows?
You're welcome, everybody.
You're welcome.
You're
It's our
welcome.
point of view. No, but I don't know. It's just nice to see though, like again, like there's a lot of distrust towards Asian people in the last 2 years, but it has been nice to see some outward support too, at least
Mhm.
from other
Allies.
groups and allies and
Yeah.
stuff. It was very comforting to know, and that conversation's been going on to recognize that we are also hurting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like everyone has their struggles and everything, but like we are also hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like these,
Yeah.
Like
all,
we have our pains as well.
yeah, exactly. All of
Oh,
those
yeah.
oppressive things that happen in other minority groups, like those all can exist at the same time. It's not like,
Yeah.
it's the fact that like, us being Asian, we understand like how the struggle that happens, like the Stop Asian Hate movement started because there was just so much of it going on within the last 2 years. So, we try to be aware of like our own privileges and like where we stand. Like I understand, like I have my own set of like privileges being like a racially ambiguous person that
Be a
doesn't
straight dude.
yeah, being a straight
Yeah.
man, being like an Asian woman, like these are all different factors we all consider. And it's never to just alienate those one factor. Like we have those conversations all together. And they don't take away from what anybody else is feeling, right? Because I speak about Latino issues all the time, right? And I have my own subset of issues I feel when I talk about those things. So I like from that experience, I understand all of those conversations can have at the same time. It's not, oh, this
It's
is
not a
about
vacuum.
me right now. Yeah, it's not a vacuum. It's about me. Like I only want to talk about Asian stuff. I talk about a lot of stuff. We all talk about a lot of different issues. But we as an identity, we have common ground. We're all Asian. And that's cool. I think that's something we celebrate here. Instead of use it as a crutch. We try to perpetuate ourselves in pushing a good message. And I think that's important. So stop Asian hate. Don't do that.
Freaking
Do that.
stop it. It's
Stop,
enough.
dude.
Stop.
If
Stop.
you don't stop, my 6'3" ass will come over and shove my foot where it don't shine.
And don't damage Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Laiba. That's just a you message. That's just a message
yeah.
personally for you.
Like, I will pull out my own cards and damage them.
Yeah, but yeah, just don't be hateful because
Yeah.
I've seen it start to ramp up for
Yeah.
turning red. Like we saw it with, honestly, Ryan the Last Dragon didn't really have any promotion
Yeah.
at all, so like there wasn't really much conversation around that too. But around Shang-Chi, they picked something to hate on it,
Yeah.
and then complained
I
about it
have
for
people
weeks
who
on end.
legitimately went, "Oh, the fight scene isn't that good." I'm like, "Excuse
By Brad Allen? You're
What
crazy.
fucking
I
drugs
wrote
were
an
you
essay.
on?"
Listen,
fight
I
choreography?
wrote an essay about how good Brad Allen's choreography
Yeah.
and the fight scenes in Shang-Chi. I wrote
You
Yeah.
still need to send me
essay
that, by
about
the
it.
way.
Yeah.
I still
But, like,
need to read
You
that.
want- I will
Before
send
the
it to
movie
you.
came out, people were like, "Oh my god, like diversity." The less so on this one, but they're like, he doesn't have any superpowers, and like we don't know this character. How can it even be good? Like, is this even worth seeing? Like,
Yeah.
where's
Yeah.
Spider-Man's trailer?
Yeah.
The comparison.
here's the
with
thing.
Spider-Man's
And then the movie
trailer.
came out, like
Like, here's
98
fucking
Rotten
fantastic.
Tomatoes.
Here's the thing. If
Still
you
won the
think
highest
about
gross.
it, if people just stopped hating Asians, think about the amazing things we could do.
Yeah.
Can you just freaking just like picture this? Like, like
The world is
imagine
perfect. War has
Imagine
ended.
this.
Hunger is solved. Everyone's
Yeah,
got
exactly.
$1,000 in their bank account.
because we
You
don't
know
have
what?
to
Leave
live
us the
in
math.
fear
We could
anymore.
probably figure that out.
Dude,
Could be so.
money
great.
is thriving.
Yeah.
But yeah, but even like fucking with the Eternals, they picked something. They're like, it's too diverse. Like they're just trying to get woke points. Blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I mean,
They're like,
like
"Oh, this movie won't matter. It looks so boring." I'm like, "Excuse
people
me?"
have their own qualms with it, but it's just like, well, you like it or you dislike it. And people love to say the line, "Oh, so I'm racist if I don't like it." It's like, well, it seems like you're making it about
You're
race.
making
Yeah.
it about race
Oh,
yourself. I'm
no.
just saying, if it is it about race, and you're just going like, "Yes, no," you're making it about it. Like, not really. I'm asking the question. You're the one who's just
Yeah.
pinpointing it rather than providing
Yeah,
another
like you-
piece of
Yeah.
argument.
It's only
Yeah.
racist if you make it racism. And they like to
Exactly.
say like, well, are you going to call me racist? Well, like that shouldn't be something you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. The fact-
are you calling yourself
Why are you
racist? Is
saying
the
that
fact
racist?
that
That's
with
weird.
every single MCU movie, they're like, oh, hype, but these two come out, they're like, oh, it doesn't look interesting.
Yeah.
People going on like, "Oh yeah, no, like Marvel hit their peak after Endgame." I'm like, really? You're saying that now
Really?
that we're getting a woman, an
Really?
Asian man, a diverse group of people, and then nothing about this shit while No Way Home's coming out? Fuck off. I see past your lies.
He-
We see it happen with Turning Red right now too. I think I
Yeah.
saw.
People
Mhm.
commenting on the animation, like, excuse me?
It's clearly a
looks
microaggression.
childish.
Yeah.
It's a
It
kids movie.
Yeah.
It's about a little girl who turns into a red panda. Do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
And the
about-
thing is, like,
what?
the animation,
It
I'm
doesn't
pointing
look-
to the red panda behind me. The animation is
Didn't look
fantastic and detailed. You get for so many of these Disney and Pixar movies, oh my god, the same face syndrome. Why don't they switch it up? They're always using the same formula. You get this. And people are like, oh my god, the animation style is so bad. I don't like it, whatever. But like, where was that energy for like Clifford the Big Red Dog? I mean, everyone knew that movie, that animation was really bad, but like,
really
we can clearly see as a society when something is objectively bad versus like, okay, maybe stylistically it's not your thing, but like, why is there a whole campaign surrounding this? Like, what?
Exactly.
Right.
What?
Where was this kind of energy for that Ice Age animated show on Disney Plus?
Like, look at Victoria's background. Look how freaking cute that is.
It is
I
so
love it.
detailed and
Love it.
fluffy. And it's like, okay, so you don't want same face syndrome, but you want the same faces, not Asian ones, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, is
Like,
that
you're
what it
fine
is?
with the faces as long as it's a white man,
Yeah.
probably, right?
Exactly.
Is that it?
And I know
That's
there's
where it's
already like starting to be like pushback too, of like, because they've said it's not going to shy away from puberty and periods,
Right.
which is a very preteen, awkward
Thing.
teenager thing to do.
Mhm.
That's super normal.
Yeah.
And people are like, this is gross and blah blah. Like, oh my god,
at.
every
Excuse me,
single
that's
thing.
gross. How old are you?
It's the idea that like this movie isn't even out yet, right? And it's just like
Yeah.
it's getting hyper criticized for things they haven't even seen. And like
Exactly.
as when you think about it as a whole and like it being centered around Asian culture, like we as Asian people ask, like, why now? Like, why
Mhm.
now are you gonna like bring this up? Like it's just
Yeah.
it's so strange and weird and like it's
And then they always hit you with the, well, it's not about race. Objectively, I don't like these things. It's like when it's so centered, it's written by an Asian or Chinese Canadian woman, directed by a Chinese Canadian woman. That the heart of the story is a Chinese Canadian woman. How is it not about that?
yeah. How are you gonna not make it about that when the whole thing is?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
these ideas that we're like talking about, they just don't, we don't want to just fit it into just like what a traditional, when we say Asian, like the traditional looking Asian, someone from like China or
Japan,
Yeah.
Korea.
Japan or anything
No,
like
there's
that.
moves beyond just those three
just
countries.
that. Yeah. We want to include Southeast Asian people,
I
East
remember
Asian
pe-
people.
What was it? I remember Hannah made a video where someone's like, "Oh, we don't need more Asian people. Y'all already have Shang-Chi." And then I'm just like, I'm sorry. Do you know how big the continent of Asia
Yeah.
is? Part of that includes Russia here.
Right. Yeah.
Just the amount of slaps you want to give to some people.
Yeah. It's
So,
Like,
we-
don't think you can stop us now. We've just started.
Yeah.
We've
Mhm.
just started.
100%.
Far
But we're
this is
like
just the bare minimum of
we're-
beginnings.
like we also have to address our own problems. Like, yeah, we do get that representation,
Mhm.
but maybe we understand that like we're lacking in Southeast representation or
Mhm.
Eastern
Mhm.
representation.
100%.
We
Desi, I know there's been a lot of pushback against like they don't want to see Desi representation. Be like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Why not?
yeah, why not?
Miss Marvel is gonna be
Yeah.
fucking dope. I mean,
Yeah.
It is.
Do you know
there's the
how
whole issues
hard-
with the show and stuff, but like the
Amon
casting,
Ivani, who is, by the
Iman
way, an
Vellani.
Asian
He's-
Canadian as well. Go
She's-
Canada.
Go Canada.
perfect for the role.
Yeah.
Laiba?
Like, do you know how hard it is to find positive Muslim representation?
Mhm.
Like, at all, where everything they're a terrorist, or they do that classic thing in TV shows where the girl takes off her hijab
Oh my
and
Yeah.
then they're like, oh wow, and it's like,
It's
Come
played
on,
off
but
as
you're
like
no
this
longer oppressed.
freedom.
Like, that's not
exactly.
why. That's
Yeah.
not.
exactly they're not oppressed, they're doing it for themselves
Mhm.
and no one else. So
And I'm-
Especially I've been finding with COVID too. Like I love this idea of modesty in public where I don't have to be like commented on for what I
Yeah.
look like on my body. I can keep that to myself. This is something I get to choose to show who I want to show.
Yeah. And I'm gonna
Exactly.
oust myself
Masks
here
and
real
stuff.
quick, because like back in high school, like as the incel that I was, I definitely had such views like, why are you wearing this? Like, isn't it related to this aspect of oppression? Like, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, as the guy who had those same thoughts as a kid, you need to move beyond that. You need to talk to some of these people and actually have a proper conversation while hearing them out and acknowledging whatever biases or shit like that you have been told in your life, and just like when you research this stuff, don't look for confirmation. Just look
Exactly.
beyond that.
It's okay to ask questions.
Mhm.
Like it's totally
Just
fine to ask
be
questions.
respectful.
It's okay
when
to
you
ask
do so.
questions. It's not okay to demand answers,
Exactly.
but the idea of having like such positive representation is so exciting.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. It has like I don't know anything. I mean, I know some stuff about Miss Marvel, but I remember when I was in high school, I saw one of my friends reading the comic and she was like, "This is you." And I'm like, "Shut up." I got so excited. I was like, "No way."
That's
But, yeah.
Can I make a little not it's not a shout out, but like the Infinity comic that came out like last week for Johnny Blaze, Robbie Reyes. God, I should I showed
Nick,
you guys,
I think
right?
you just lost your
Yeah.
card
Yeah,
right
I
there as a
did.
Robbie
Oh
Reyes
man,
fan.
sorry. I was like talking a lot about Ghost Rider today. No, there's like a little panel where Gabe, his little brother, goes on a date with a little Filipino girl, and I thought that was so cute. And I showed Laiba because we're both Filipino, and we're like, look, that's
Cried.
us. Gabe, like
Nick, you are the child of Robbie Reyes and that girl. He's
no.
going on a date
It's Gabe, his little brother, and
Oh.
I forget her name. I think
with.
it was.
She
it
just
was,
calls
cute.
Robbie Tio or something
yeah,
like that, right?
she calls him
Yeah,
calls her
Irish.
Tito.
Tito, yeah,
And
Tito.
I read that and I just died inside a little bit because I was like, that's me in that panel right there. That's me.
You sent it to me twice.
Twice. I was
You're
like,
look.
look, this is us. This is me. I
It's
felt so
us.
seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that reading like all new Ghost Rider before back in 2014, but like it just felt so
Little things.
yeah, it just felt so targeted and specific. Like that panel existed for me to enjoy specifically. And I was like, this is life. Like this is my
And that
favorite.
makes you think too, like that means more people like us are in the writers' room, and
Yeah.
behind the camera and
Who
producing the
understand
stuff.
that? Yeah.
And quickly, while you mentioned like that, like the Filipino representation,
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to one of my friends, Mary Chris. She's part of an all-woman Filipino comedy troupe called the Tita
Yeah.
Collective, and you should
Yes.
check them out.
The Tita
follow
They're
Collective. That's so
hilarious.
cool.
They're
I
gonna be,
follow them.
They're
I think,
wonderful.
touring this summer.
No.
But
I want to hang out with them. I watched when you showed me their Instagram. I watched every single one, and I was like,
again,
yes,
like too,
yes.
it's just like we have to we have to be the ones who put ourselves out there to get the representation that we deserve.
Yeah. Who else
Yeah.
is gonna do it? No one else is gonna do it for us.
Yeah. On top of
And if they do, they're
Pretty
not gonna
much
do it
be
right.
Thanos in this situation and just go, fine, I'll do it
Yeah.
myself.
Mhm.
on top of projects that are spearheaded by Asian people, Laiba is working on a little project right now. Is that correct?
You want to tell? You want to give us some info?
I'm
No,
so
we'll
excited.
we'll
Wait, is
clip
this
it and then we'll send this to your teacher. if
No,
we
we'll
have
send it to every. I'm in LA. I'll go to every director's house and just
Hell
slide it
yes.
in their.
Slap
Go
a
to
QR
spot.
code.
Slap a
Go to
QR code.
Simu's house, wherever the hell it is, slip it underneath and like, yo, you want to direct this?
Yeah. So I picked well for one of my classes I had to pitch a documentary. And we had the option to have it up for consideration for it to be actually made. And I pitched mine, which I was super nervous about, but I got like the top 5, top 6 to be considered. And it's basically about how Asian Americans, Asian Canadians deal with mental health.
Yeah.
So yeah, and what's amazing about our top 5 that got picked is that we are all women that got picked.
That's so
All
cool.
of us were men that got picked, and I think it's so exciting. But even if it doesn't get picked, I feel like I still want to do it as a passion project.
Yeah.
Get some more people on here.
Yeah.
I love
We
the
will help
topic
you support it.
so much because
Yeah.
talking to my peers and stuff, I know their parents has had struggles, especially when it comes to like when they're the ones who's immigrated into the country or grew up being like the first or this I guess this
Generation.
first generation, the one after immigrating where you have to like
Second.
translate and stuff for all your parents and stuff. Like
What's
there's so
up?
many nuances. And like as we mentioned too before, and Always Be My Maybe is like you kind of get a little bit of that, like of how these Asian parents are and everyone's dealing with their own mental health and grief in their own ways, because Randall Park's character is obviously depressed for a long time because his mother is gone. But we also see his dad challenge the stereotype of, it's not even a stereotype, it's very much a cultural thing where it's like you remember your dead and your loved ones, like we see in Shang-Chi, but like you also get a little bit of that challenge too of like being in the like that Asian American sort of idea of like, well, like I can do something a little bit different. It takes 16 years, but
it's that quote that I hear a lot from Simi, where it's like our parents are trying to show us the way, but in many aspects, it is also on us that it's not always the set path that they've given us. Like, yes, we can take it. And we have to be thankful to them to some extent for helping us show and find that way. But at the same time, we should also help them recognize that there are other paths besides the one that they've helped given us. Right?
And it's hard if you think about it. It gets really hard, and you kind of go through this like internal struggle where you're like, am I stepping over the line? Am I not, am I like, you know how they're like, don't forget where your place is, like don't forget like where you stand.
There's very much a hierarchy.
They're the parent. Yeah, and obviously like we grew up with obviously like respecting our elders, and it's hard like growing up in Canada and America where like some kids don't do that.
Yeah,
and, like,
which is wild, right?
It's weird.
Crazy.
Like, first time I went to like a white friend's house, they're like, oh, their mom's like, oh, just call me like Carol or something like that.
I'm not gonna do that.
No,
and then I'm just like, no, you're just gonna be Mrs. Blank to me forever.
I'm not. I'm not calling.
I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable, but I'm gonna stick to it because it makes me more uncomfortable to say the wrong name.
Yeah.
Or I'll just go blank person's mom.
Yeah.
So. Especially in like Shang-Chi, where there's that part in the trailer where he was like, be careful how you speak to me, boy. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I felt that in my soul.
Yeah.
I feel like, because then there's the child, like, because there's that, and like the stepping the line of like, how do you get your parents' mental health services where they feel comfortable and not like wound up in this like, we just gotta deal with it because that's how we've always done it sort of way, and like being able to like find the professionals who had the same experiences, or else it's just not going to work because you can't send an Asian dad to talk to like a white woman.
That doesn't always help.
And I actually mentioned this like in my pitch for my documentary, is that like the way that they grew up and they taught us is that we can't be weak.
No.
So the fact that we have like either mental health issues or just like feelings and emotions, like we don't want to portray ourselves as weak because they don't think weakness is an option.
There's also very much that social stigma behind having to search for help in Asian culture, right?
Yeah.
It's no place. You can't find it anywhere.
Exactly.
And it's like you can find it within other people. Like obviously recently, because like this generation is just like very open about their mental health, so it gets really hard when you're
I'll tell y'all I'm depressed. I'll tell y'all when I'm really down and lonely.
I think
I just want to cry in the shower.
Yeah, because like your parents will like, if you tell your parents about it, sometimes they don't like, it doesn't exist to them, and they're like,
sometimes you'll get
like, oh, you're not drinking enough water. You need to go on a walk.
That's your problem. That's your
you're
problem.
not eating enough.
And it's like, no, I'm really struggling here. It's
like, you know why you feel bad? Because you don't take care of yourself. And I'm like, how does that help me?
And then, like, you try to tell them the issues sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, this is what you need to do. This is what I did when I was young." I'm like, I guess it helped you, but you are not me. Me is this, and I'm thinking this, and they're like, no, professional help isn't an option. I'm like, okay, then never mind.
Like, you wanna pay someone
just to talk to you?
talk
Like
to
you have
They're
friends,
like,
don't you? I'm
Exactly.
like, a little.
they're like, talk to me, and I'm like, no.
No, I will
You
not.
don't need to hear
I
about
will
this.
never talk to my parents about my life issues in that way.
And all these examples are not to like vilify like our parents, you
Oh,
know,
no.
or people that have helped us grow up. It's like
Yeah.
it's just self-awareness and like how it's affected us, right?
Mhm.
And we as individuals, as someone who's like self-aware and like moving forward, like we understand that there's going to be a generational gap. There is generational trauma,
There's
right?
Mhm.
that disconnect.
Yeah, too, because a lot of it's like sometimes, like, because they've also had to deal with all the same racism, probably worse
Yeah.
than what
Oh,
we've had
yeah.
to face. But like, they weren't allowed, like, it wasn't a thing
They're not
to
taught
talk
to like
about
speak
it.
up for themselves.
Or it's not even speak up for them, but they just had to put on a brave face
Mhm.
for the kids.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like if you like show that weakness and stuff, it's just like, what example are you setting for your kids? That like,
Mhm.
even though like it may be hurting them really bad, and the struggle of I know too, is just like, I think when my grandma came over, like she had to leave all of her family behind. Like, how do you deal with those emotions
Yeah.
when
It's
you're in a
hard.
country that's unfamiliar as well? So like
Mhm.
there's that whole
There's a whole lot of factors.
things on top of like with the
right?
cultural things. But I like
Yeah.
I was talking about the emotions and stuff again. Like this makes me so excited for Turning Red again, because it's just like she's trying to navigate emotions and stuff, and like, what did her parents tell her, not tell her? How do they support her? Well, she's feeling all these big emotions, and I'm like, this.
He doesn't want to
Mhm.
be perfect little May May.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have
Especially-
to be. And it's
Yeah,
like, it's such a-
especially like being a like obviously like an Asian woman growing up, we're always taught to just like look down, don't say anything,
quiet.
Keep your head down.
keep
and
your head
you won't get
down,
in
be
trouble.
quiet, you won't get in trouble, listen to what the man tells you to do. So even now when we're in like this feminist generation where we're like, yeah, fuck men, I find myself going back to that and like staying quiet and like
Mhm.
not talking
Gets me
back
s-
to the opposite
Yeah,
sex.
It gets me so intimidated sometimes too. Like, if I'm like, let me have the confidence of a white guy, let me post like this, let me make some jokes, maybe be a little bit more loud than I usually am, because the way I talk online, I practice what I say, run through it in my
Yeah.
head, I make sure
Yeah.
I don't say anything that can offend anyone, or
Mhm.
I minimize it as much as possible. And I'm like, who am I doing this for? I'm doing this for like the pleasure of like those around me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They see me in this role, and if I deviate from it, then I'm gonna feel it.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna get repercussions for not meeting their expectations of being either professional enough or put together enough, or being too loud. It's like
Mhm.
it's
It's an
so-
ongoing struggle
it
constantly.
is.
Yeah. And
It's
I
like-
feel like I'm never gonna get used to it. I have to always catch
See,
myself.
that's the sad part. It's like
Mhm.
we're not living in the lifetime where we get to see the outcome of like everything that you and I and everyone else gets to fight for, right? And like knowing that it sucks, because it's like, okay, well, what's the point of me saying anything, right? Like, what's the point of me
Mhm.
fighting for any of this stuff? And I always say this, like when I bring this up, it's like, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my kids, like my kids that don't exist yet. You know, it's
Mhm.
like, how much are they gonna have to fight if I don't fight now, right?
Yeah.
My kids are
Peter,
gonna
I'm
be.
selfish and like to say that I'm gonna see it no matter what.
I mean, you could live to
I'm gonna hear
4,000, the
about
year
it. I don't
4,000, and still might not
be
see
a
it.
fucking ghost and I'll see it.
But like, I have no choice. My kids are gonna be mixed no matter what I do. They're gonna be mixed.
Exactly.
At all.
Yes.
This is one thing I
Ugh.
can comment on.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, if I don't do something, what are they gonna do,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't want to do this just because, like, for my own selfish reasons. Like, yeah, obviously I want to feel better about living in my own skin,
But
but
you know, those experiences are gonna have to be passed down to
Yeah.
your kid.
and if I don't do
like,
nothing,
Yeah.
if I don't do anything now, then they deal with it, right? But I want them to
Yeah.
grow off of what I've done and what I've seen. And it's like, it's kind of crazy, like thinking about it now, living in such a social media like driven place. It's like, one day my kids are gonna listen to this podcast and they're like, "Dad, you're so fucking lame." And I'm gonna
The
know
Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
the
Yeah,
You're like,
Yu-Gi-Oh
you said something bad because
Yeah.
we don't use that word anymore.
Yeah, we don't use that word
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, sorry, my bad. That was back in
We don't say
2022.
mixed kids anymore.
We don't say mixed kids, Dad. We say inclusive kids. And I was like, okay, well, didn't know
Well,
that.
okay, I'll start
But,
changing
also-
the vocab.
On be like the mixed kids too, like, and be catching yourself instead of being too comfortable. Like at home with my mom, I always have like, because she's white, so I sometimes have to realize I'm like, wait, she doesn't understand
Mhm.
what exactly my experiences or going through. Like she had, and to hear the racist people being like, what ethnicity is their father, like growing up,
Yeah.
and
What
asking
are
if her
you?
kids are adopted, or asking if I'm
Mhm.
adopted and not my brother. Like it, it's just like, yeah, we need this to show this. And mixed people, I know there's, 'cause especially too, like To All the Boys I Loved Before, that was the first movie that I've seen with like a white parent and a mixed kid and stuff, and especially with the dead parent being Asian and whatever. And it's just like it matters so much to see that, like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
we exist and our experiences are different, and they'll never quite, I mean, they don't really touch on race that much in that movie, but like it really informs the entire way we see the world.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry, there's been this surgence of the phrase that I'm honestly starting to fall in love with way more and more the more I hear it. It's like, if you don't understand it, then it wasn't meant for you.
Yeah.
Don't think that it wasn't meant for anyone at all just because it didn't work for you at all, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
like watching Eternals, for example. I just recently found out that like the line that Kumail Nanjiani says when he kills that one deviant by going Kashum was this. It's like this automatopoeia used in a lot of Bollywood films, and then like
Yes.
I was very dumbfounded when I found out about this, but like I saw some other creators out there who were like, yeah, no, this is such a great thing for me, like this is like a little
Our whole
inside joke
family
for us.
loved this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yes.
I'm just like,
Yes.
moments like that, it's like I didn't understand it, but you don't see me going like, oh, what the fuck, why did he say that, why didn't he just go pew or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like I
Shoot.
have my questions, but I'm not going to put it out there with
Write
this.
it off as like, this is stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go
It's-
into it with this desire to learn more. You
Yeah.
know?
Open your mind.
Open your
Exactly.
mind, dude.
Open your mind.
I think that kind of
But
goes
yeah, I
into.
remember
go ahead.
hearing that. I
Yeah.
remember hearing that. I got so excited because I was born in Pakistan.
Yeah.
I grew up with Bollywood, so I was really in touch with that side. So, but like recently, I'm really in touch with like my I don't know, my like Filipino, like
Mhm.
Asian side. But like to see like and hear that Dishum made me so happy because that's something like we would do when we were little kids. Like we'd go like
Oh.
yeah.
I love that so much.
I think this like back and forth between like what we're like talking about goes into like our next topic of like don't politicize it, right? Because like, every time we talk about the topic of like representation and being Asian and inclusion, stuff like that, you always hear, why you gotta make it about race? Why you gotta make it about politics? Why are you always gonna bring this up? And it's like this is my entire life, whether I
This is
like
my
it or
reality. This is the experiences I'm living. Like you're telling me not to politicize it, meaning like, are you just telling me not to put myself, this life I've lived out there in some way?
not. Yeah.
Like,
It just seems like they're saying that
We're
it doesn't
not, It's not
matter.
it's not like they're like, a lot of people think of representation as like, okay, we hit a tally, we hit a quota, which is definitely not the case. And it's just like, oh, I can't believe, like, why is there more than 2 Asian people in this movie? And it's just like, we exist.
Yeah.
It's 'cause
And also
these
the fact that like,
situations happen.
situation,
They're
like,
the reality.
yeah, and it's like, if I'm an Asian person, I'm probably going to have Asian friends too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The same thing like
Yeah.
people get hung up to on like queer representation. Like, why is everyone like gay in this? And be like,
It's because you know
that's
you
how we're
sometimes
cliques, and that's how we were
Exactly.
socialized, because we had to like stick together. But like,
Exactly. It's because these are the
Gotcha.
groups that you feel will understand you the most, so you will gravitate towards them more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
but
expect?
most commonly we hear, or at least I hear that. I got a comment like 2 hours ago with that. Like, there was
Don't make
stuff
it
going around about like, why are they making all the Marvel movies so political when it was brought up with a feminist point of view, and obviously referencing the last few movies being a lot more diverse. I mentioned, like, military is politics. All this
Very
is
much so.
politics. Whatever. He's like, you're so technical. You know what I mean. I'm like,
Do
so
I'm an empath.
Elaborate, please.
elaborate, please. It's like,
Hmm.
is it the fact that you're no longer seeing yourself as a lead character in all of these movies? And secondly, why is that a problem? Because everybody else who, especially with the early Marvel movies, like isn't white or isn't a man, we didn't get to see. We have to adapt and consume stories and media that isn't directly about us.
Mhm.
We've been conditioned and socialized to do it, and then you're trying to make it political and a problem that we have our own stories and we get to
Exactly.
express ourselves and we get to be seen as equal, or God forbid have more power than a white character or a male character. And it's just like, how is this politicized? Like, we are people who exist.
Yeah.
We're not a topic of debate that we should make policies around.
Yeah.
Honestly, there are a lot of like policies that should be removed that are still institutionalized racism within all of our countries.
Yeah. It's true.
So that's the
That includes Canada.
politicization of it. But that's not what you guys are talking about. You're just talking about existing on the screen and being equals. And it's frustrating as all hell, because like we don't exist to them.
Yeah.
It's something that we've struggled with for years.
Still
years
do.
to even think about it. And we still do, because we gave Hollywood a chance where we're like, hey, you're gonna put an Asian character, and they're gonna be like, yep, glasses and a calculator. Like, seriously?
Or, oh, you're a rebellious girl. Let's give you a red or like a purple streak in your hair.
So glad they didn't do that to Xialing in Shang-Chi, by the way.
Yeah, she made a real statement with her hair.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Thank
really
God.
good.
You
Yeah.
Love her.
So wonderful.
To make sure she wouldn't have the stereotypical
stereotypes.
Asian streak.
Stereotypes.
Like, she had a very traditional
Yeah.
blunt bang haircut, which honestly, great representation. But it's like, what? And then again, Nick was mentioning before, is just like they come onto our pages when we are talking about the media through our lens of our experiences
In our
of being-
spaces. Like in
Or
our
just the fact
spaces.
that
Like-
we say we enjoy something as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No matter what I talk about, it's going to have a feminine point of view. It's going to have an Asian point of view. It's going to have a biracial point of view. It's going to have a queer point of view.
Mhm.
No matter what. Like, we're not forcing these issues. We're just trying to understand and consume this media in a way that, like,
Works for us and
Works
many
for us.
others.
I think I had made a response to like a comment who's like, oh, why are you talking about like this isn't like the debate between like Wanda and like Strange, right?
it's not about sex.
They're like,
right?
oh, it's not
Yeah.
like this isn't sexist. And I was like, well, when you're talking like you can't say that. That's impossible because like especially when we're talking about two distinct groups, right? Like you have to factor in these ideas. You can't just have this conversation in a vacuum and think like, yeah, I can prove my point if we don't account for all the other things that are important. Like that's not how that works.
Not
ever.
how debating works.
And it's like,
No,
okay,
it
we're going to
doesn't.
talk about, if I'm going to talk about Asian representation in movies, and you're like, well, why you got to make it about race? Like, why can't we just talk about the numbers and the box office and how successful it is? And I was like,
Obviously, it wasn't as good as Spider-Man because
Yeah.
the box office. Like, come on.
exactly.
Again,
Again,
had-
I swear to God, I hate that argument
Yeah,
just
it's
because,
like,
like, again, this
we-
movie didn't premiere in the biggest country ever that
Yeah.
contributes the most money ever. So shut up.
Exactly. So
Also,
it's like,
it's a sequel. It's also has a wide fan base. There's also been
It's got
7
so
other
much
movies.
Fucking
Like, it's
nostalgia surrounding it.
it's like we can talk about all those other factors, right? But I was like, oh, but I want to talk about well, the fact that he's Asian is like, no, I don't want to talk about that. It makes me uncomfortable. That sucks that it makes you uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable my entire fucking life.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
why should
Why
I
do we
to
have to
accommodate-
cater to
Why
you?
do I need
Yeah.
to appease to your bullshit? Huh?
Yeah, it's like I don't want to talk about these numbers. These numbers are skewed. I don't want to talk about how this has affected me because this has affected me in a negative way. But now that I want to talk about how this relates to my identity, you don't want to have that conversation? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'm
Mhm.
Because it makes you
And it's-
uncomfortable. Like,
It's the
not
same
gonna shut
thing
up
of
just
like
'cause you
when they
want us
like
to.
have these criticisms of these movies and they try to make it objective before they even come out. Like again, like it's the same thing with the stupid thing with the animation and Turning Red. It's just like it's inherently an Asian movie. You can't
you can't
can't
not.
disassociate
Yeah.
yourself with that.
Yeah.
You're privileged to think that you could, but inherently you can't because we don't get many movies like this.
I
Same with
wish.
Shang-Chi. It's same with this. Like,
I
oh my
wish.
gosh.
I wish I had the privilege to just remove myself like that. I really
Yeah.
wish I could just
Yeah.
be like, yeah, you know what? I don't have
I
to see
sometimes
myself in
think like
movie.
that, but then I'm just like, what a sad life that is.
Yeah,
it's
to
so boring.
Not understand people or want to know people around you.
Where's the
Exactly.
flavor?
Not wanting to
Once
hear
again,
other people.
Open your mind.
Open your mind. Get some flavor. In
If
all
you
the
really
media.
need some help, y'all can come find me. I have a baseball bat. I can
Yeah.
really help open your mind.
I was gonna say you can come find my page and
Yeah.
ask me questions and I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Or that works too.
That works too.
And with like
That's
all,
probably better.
all of this, like collectively, we get pretty common responses. But I think the one that we get the most is you only like it because you're Asian. Like no
What's
shit, dog.
up?
That's
Like-
Johnny, that you're the king of
Yeah,
that.
Johnny,
That's
you're like the
my
king of that.
area of expertise, apparently. Because just because I say like, oh yeah, no, like I kind of like Shang-Chi more than No Way Home. Everyone's immediate response is, oh, this is racially biased. It's because you're
No,
Asian.
they say racially motivated
There
as
we
if
go.
it's race because they don't quite understand what racially motivated means, which
don't
means
think they do.
it's a negative
Yeah.
emotion or like a negative driven emotion
Exactly.
against
Like-
a race. So them saying that is implying that you're racist against white people, which doesn't exist, by the way.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because you don't like Spider-Man, no way.
And here's the thing: they have such a narrow mind of thinking. Just
It's
because
not like you didn't
say,
like it. It's just you like
Exactly.
something more than it.
just because I say like I prefer this, apparently it just means you hate this. Where's the logic?
Doesn't have to.
Where,
I love
where
both.
is the critical thinking? Where is the nuance?
I
Clearly, it's
love-
gone.
Ned's family.
Lola.
But oh my, yeah, it's
Lola.
it's the fucking thing where it's like you only like it. It's just like, yeah, of course I'm going to like it more because it's Asian.
Exactly.
I
And,
am
like,
Asian. Why are you discounting
Exactly.
my personal experiences as a valid reason to like something? If I see myself represented in media, I'm going to fucking like it.
exactly.
And I like it
Exactly.
more
Like,
'cause I
once
see
again,
myself.
they're like invalidating our opinions because they
Exactly.
think it doesn't matter.
And then for them to just go like, okay, but like let's look at this objectively. And like, no, fuck you. I am not looking at this objectively. Your version of objectively still includes having over fucking 10 years of nostalgia and biases. Okay. Fuck that shit. You want to bring that stuff in? Fine. I will have my own Asian experiences play into this.
And I mean,
But don't pretend that it's any less valid than the experiences you have gone through by being seen on screen ever since fucking
Mhm.
2002.
Yeah.
especially when it gets
Mhm.
into Spider-Man again. I mean, we use this as an example, but they have it's a very large, and some of those voices in that fandom is very loud with questionable takes, especially when it comes to the Stan Lee line of like, oh, it could be anyone under the mask or in the suit. And they really love to use that as an excuse to being like, well, everyone
Anyone
has
can
to
be
love
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, and anybody can be Spider-Man. But it's like realistically, it's a slim male body type,
Mhm.
and on-screen portrayals, live action.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse is its own thing, which is fantastic. There's like it. We've only seen a white guy.
Yeah. And
We always get Peter Parker, which is
Yeah.
always a white
Silk,
guy.
Silk.
And it's like, so they try to discount like, well, no, it's for everyone. Be like, not really.
No.
I've never looked at Spider-Man's drawn body and
Like-
being like, that's me.
Like me.
I've been asking, like, define everyone. you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, like he
Mhm.
relates on like an emotional level, or like he relates on a level, like he's so relatable because he's this age group, or like
He's like a
understanding
teen who doesn't have a
responsibility.
lot of money.
Yeah, and
And
it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Okay,
I
great.
understand. I get that. I understand what you're saying.
Like I've
And-
related to Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everyone
Yeah.
relates to Spider-Man. That's what makes him so appealing. The
Mhm.
thing is, though, like,
Exactly.
how come when I watch like Shang-Chi or something, and I'm like, I get that, I relate to that because I've felt those experiences before.
Mhm.
Someone will be like, well, why you got to bring like culture and race into it? And I was like, because
And
that's
it's
the
like,
same
that's my
thing.
experience.
Exactly.
That's
his
my experiences
point.
there. And it's like, how
It's-
come for some reason, like you want to take this conversation, like you want to talk about how you relate to Spider-Man and how you relate to these superheroes. And I was like, that's so cool that you get to live that. And I see something that's very specific to something that might be Asian culture or Latino culture. And I'm like, I like this because I see myself in it. It's like, well, what? Hang on.
Well,
That's
why
too
is
much
it
for
that
you.
way?
You can't do that.
Exactly.
Like it's so conditional, and it's like why do you get to have a thing and then I don't get to have a thing? Well, I want a
Mhm.
thing.
Like what is
And
it?
then
Like
there's always the argument too of like, well, they should just bring in new characters, and it's just like we have the
This is a
characters
new
to
character.
bring in.
Yeah.
We have, the
and then
new
you
characters.
have this bullshit response of he has no powers. We don't know who he is. I'm like,
That's the
choose a
point.
fucking argument, one of you guys.
But even the
Pick
amount
one.
of hate that like new characters will get when they get introduced. Like I remember the discourse that Robbie had when he came in as a new Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's like, he's not real, dude. He doesn't have a spirit of vengeance. He
Even
drives
I
a
discounted
car.
Robbie.
Yeah, everyone was like, he's not a real Ghost Rider. And I was like, well, why? Like, why? It's like, oh, you can't ride a car. And I was like, this feels like a microaggression. I don't like
Yeah.
this. Like,
Why can a guy
Yeah.
ride a horse but not a car?
exactly? And I'm like,
Cars are more common.
I just don't get
Or-
it. Kamala Khan got pushed back. America Chavez got pushed back.
Yeah,
Like all
Carol
of these-
Danvers got
Mhm.
pushed back, just becoming Captain Marvel herself.
Yeah, like all of these microaggressions existed, even for characters that were like, oh yeah, if you want representation, go make your own characters. Like, okay, cool, we have the characters, and they're like, no, we don't
You
like
could
it.
use them.
Yeah.
We don't like it.
They're too
Especially
new.
with
I don't know
um,
them. They're too different
I
from who I am, i.e., me being white.
Yeah.
She's from I believe a comic, but I don't remember her name. But she was like a Filipino Captain America.
Oh, Ariel,
United States
Ariel
of Captain
Apriani.
America, issue number 4.
Yes,
Yes.
her. I think when they first introduced that, I cried.
Oh my, I have
I
the.
ju-
I have it
yeah,
right
you
here
I'm
should
gonna
you should it too. Okay, so yeah, I cried because like I saw it and I'm like, that's me. And people were like, oh, she can't be Captain America. Like she's a girl. She's not
It was
American.
so
and
personal.
it's exactly, and it's like you're basically telling anyone that they can't be a hero. And I like saw that, and I saw like the other pictures, like illustrations of her. I was like, she has my body type. I used to have that haircut. I looked exactly like that. And people's responses are like, oh,
Ew. No.
it
That's
can't
not
be.
Captain
Gross.
America.
You
No,
can't be
that's
Captain
not
America.
my
Like, why? Yeah. See, like, and it's hard to like not feel
Look at
personally
her.
attacked by these things when you see characters that are so much like you, like fucking Nick and your Robbie, and like Laiba with that Captain America. And this is like, even like, that's why I've been hurting when I'm seeing people like already start dissing and turning red. I'm like, this is legit me. Like, I
Yeah.
have my hair
That is
orange a
you.
lot of the time. Like, even like the first time I dyed my hair, I had red streaks in my hair in about grade 5. So like, it's not far off.
Yeah.
The amount of people who
The
just
round
tagged you or
glasses in
sent it to you, going
Toronto
like,
and
Victoria,
sent it
it's
to
you.
me. And it's like, she's short and she's petite in stature, but she's not petite in slimness either.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do I not take this personally?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if you say like, oh, this movie is gonna suck because it's about this, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can't be this, like this. A Filipino girl can't be Captain America.
Right.
Black man can't be Captain America. Like, you're just completely disregarding like this whole fantasy aspect. Like you say you want to go into these comic books and these movies because like it gives you a break from the world and you get to fantasize about this different reality.
Like how much of our media
Mhm.
is based in reality? How much of
Yeah.
these stories that you say
How-
you love?
But how
are
is it
related to
unrealistic for just people of our general
Exactly.
population?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Why is it that when you're trying to escape reality, it has to match your agenda?
Yeah.
Becomes the real question.
It brings me back to that line that was said in the Miss Marvel trailer where
Oh yeah.
Kamala was like, well, brown girls are never like brown girls
The
from
heroes.
Jersey are never the
Don't really see
hero.
them as the heroes. Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. I think I talked about
Yeah.
this with Rid, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I was
And
like,
just
it
speaking of
hit.
Rid, like
Yeah.
look at all the hate she got for how much she liked and related to Eternals. Like
Yeah.
I didn't
Mhm.
love Eternals. I still enjoy it, but you don't see me hating on Raid for it.
Yeah.
I just
Exactly.
have
Well-
nothing more but a desire to see more of people's
I
lives.
aspire to be Rid because like the way she does, she
We
talks
love
about
you,
Eternals
Rid.
constantly. It's like that's what I want to be for Radiant Black. That's what I
Right.
want to be for Robbie Reyes. Like I want to do that.
Hey,
I
you know
wanna
what?
be
Until she
that.
starts watching that movie once a day,
Yeah.
She's so pure
Yeah.
in like her love
Mhm.
and feeling represented and seen
yeah.
by this movie. And it's just like, why aren't people excited to see that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why are people mad and actively hating on people who express joy in media that is about, they feel is about them?
Hmm.
How is that hurtful to you?
Mhm.
Like, it's not like we're not getting any, like the fact that like Johnny's saying like, oh, I enjoy Shang-Chi more than I enjoyed Spider-Man because this is something I relate to. And it's just like,
Exactly.
Johnny saying that isn't going to take away your next Spider-Man trilogy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're
It's gonna
going to
come.
still get more of the
You're
stuff
gonna
you
get
like.
a Spider-Man
We're probably
4.
gonna see
You're
like
just not, it's not
3
going to
more
just
I
be
may
Spider-Man.
every
not
single time.
get a Shang-Chi 4, you know?
Yeah.
And the
Exactly.
fact that you're getting it now,
Yeah.
This late at
because
age
Spider-Man has been
23.
yeah, Spider-Man has been here for decades.
Decades.
He's 60.
He's been
yeah.
recreated multiple times. But Shang-Chi is the
exactly.
only one we have for now.
Exactly.
Shang-Chi, Cersei,
Xialing,
Kingo, Xialing, Katie,
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh.
Wong, and we have Wong, and I guess Ned are like two like side characters.
Mhm.
Right.
But we actually get some.
We deserve
We deserve
to
more.
be the main focus.
Yeah.
We deserve to be the protagonist.
And like these struggles exist everywhere, not just like in media. Like
Mhm.
speaking as
And
like
Not just in our community.
yeah, it's not in our
Yeah.
community. In other minority groups, speaking as like a mixed person, you know, I see both sides of being Latino and Asian. And that's hard because like I see anti-Asianness exist in Latino community. I see anti-Latino-ness exist in Asian community. I see both of those like anti-marginalized groups exist in other marginalized groups. And that's such a hard topic to navigate, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you're like not aware or part of those communities. Because it's very easy and very susceptible to fall into this idea that like I'm going to come into your community, I'm going to talk about how I'm oppressed and totally disregard like what you're feeling right now. And that's just not how it is, right? I think we
Well,
saw
Nick,
that. What's up?
Was it like I sent you a couple screenshots going like, "Yo, I'm getting this response to me talk about representation in Shang-Chi," and it's the guy going like, "Oh yeah, no, like no, like you're not really oppressed. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Latino, I'm Latinx, or," and then like no, like I know what real oppression is. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
why do I have to get invalidated while at it though?
It's this competition narrative too.
It's
I
this
know
desire to
this is-
speak over one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I just did.
When they can, but like they can, the thing is like we're so conditioned to believe like this competition exists between other minority groups. And that's awful, right? Like you said, like you feel like you just did that right now. But like how often are you all like how often when you grew up are you pitted against other minority groups and see like,
Exactly.
oh look how bad
All the time.
like, we have it
Exactly.
in comparison to other people. Like
And it's very much used to just silence other voices too, right?
Exactly.
Because like growing up, I'm like, oh yeah, no, like I got it bad, but like the black communities and all that, like they've had it worse. They went through X, Y, and Z,
mhm.
and then Asian people just went through this stuff. Like in many ways, you're conditioned to undermine your own experiences, which is
Yes.
in many ways
Yes.
tragic.
One
Yeah.
of,
Especially as Asian people too, in that perspective, because a lot of our skin, not all of our skin, but a lot of our skin is fairer. I mean, we always get the fucking, oh, you're yellow and whatever, but it's like it never feels like the same as somebody calling a black person a slur. Like, so like
Yeah.
we undermine like, oh, it's not that bad. And it's like then we have this competition that like it feels like it must have been put on, instigated by people outside of the minority groups to say like, well, you're not, look at them, they're actually more oppressed than you, so obviously what you're feeling is not valid, which is like absolutely not the case. No, like you're just saying that to pit us against each other, to realize that we've all been hurt, and a lot of times by the same people.
Yeah.
So we don't recognize that fact, and we don't help each other, and it's really freaking sad to see, and to have it like grow, like have it being like the narrative, like when we're growing up too, since like we're all in our like 20s and stuff too. It's just like we're like, why is this a thing? Like looking back at it, it's like, this is so fucked up.
Yeah. And it's the thing about just wanting to feel like you're important, right? And it's like the clearest example I always explain to people, it's like whenever you go to like a friend or maybe even like a coworker, right, and you just say like, oh, I'm tired, and your friend or like acquaintance is like, yeah, but I only got three hours of sleep last night. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't stop me from being tired.
Exactly.
I'm still tired.
Still
Need to
tired.
be a competition here,
Yeah.
Jeff.
I'm so sorry. I guess I'm not
You
tired.
broke your wrist, and I like broke my back, whatever.
yeah.
Like, it's not a
It's like,
competition.
oh, I guess my arm's not broken anymore. You know, like it's
like, oh my god, look at that.
oh my god, like I'm magically healed. Like it's that kind of concept where it's like it doesn't. Those things can happen at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
And
in
we
my
can
mind.
use it too to lift each other up.
Exactly.
Right?
Like,
It should never be used as a way to demean or undermine each other.
Why I love like the Eternals too, because we have so many different
Groups
of representation. Obviously, it's still not perfect. Like you can't get the whole world represented in a movie, which they were pretty good with.
Yeah,
they were pretty close. They got a lot of the way there, but and then the rhetoric becomes is like, oh well, isn't that enough for like, oh, like we already have a black movie, we already have an Asian movie, like why are we trying to tick all the boxes, and like why can't they all exist? Why can't we continue?
Like, genuinely, if you think one is enough, then fine. Only have Spider-Man. No one else.
The fact that they think there is a limit or a minimum they need to reach, and then they're good.
It's like, remember when Agatha All Along was announced? Like, oh, why are they making this instead of the X-Men? It's like, no, they're making this, but they're still making the X-Men.
Disney got buckets of money, bro. Like,
exactly.
Disney got
they can
buckets
have
of money.
More than
they
one
can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, bro.
Mutually exclusive. In
26
like we have like
unannounced
Shang-Chi and the
projects.
Eternals. Doesn't mean we're gonna get any less like Wakanda content. It doesn't mean like
you guys still got your white boy content this year. You guys
still
had
got your
Hawkeye.
Spider-Man.
You still had your Spider-Man.
Multiverse of Madness. Like you're going to get that content. Like we just need more. Like more isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, Marvel isn't
sure,
going,
not taking away any
exactly.
seats from anyone else. By
Marvel isn't going like you only get 4 and you have to choose. Marvel is going like, cool, we can have 4, but more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it reminds me of like that Brie Larson speech when she was talking about how the Academy needs to be more diverse. Like it's not about taking away seats from the table. It's just
about
adding more seats.
Yeah,
we need to have it represented and to have the right voices in the rooms.
Like it's not going to affect them.
Exactly.
And
their
see,
voices are still gonna be there.
This is like the example I tell everybody. It's like if you had every movie from here on out in my lifetime be an Asian cast, full Asian cast, it still would not outweigh all the media that's out currently. Like, and I'm like, well, that's still too much. And I was like, what do you mean it's too much, bro? Like, there's literally I've had to watch my entire life like white people be on screen.
I had to somehow make myself the white man, even though I would never get those same opportunities.
Yeah.
Right.
But speaking of like representation we see on the screen, and just moving to a much more positive note, what are some examples we see that are like that we are happy to see? We've mentioned a couple already, right? But how we feel we've seen in recent years, how well has that been executed?
Before we get in, I guess, to more like the film and comics and stuff, I know in literature, that's an area that I hadn't seen myself in before, but like in recent years, like learning about like actually seeing a push more of independent Asian authors and stuff, and being able to write about certain things and different things. I know one of the ones that the author, she's on TikTok for like, I think it's Widow.
Iron Widow, yeah.
Iron Widow.
Oh, I have it. I want to
It's
read
good.
it so
yeah,
bad.
I have it too.
I know
have it
it's
too.
a steamy book,
read it
but
yet.
it's just like it's great to see that push and the community around it, and like seeing the face and like understanding like these are her experiences writing this stuff. And I'm like, that's one area of liter or media that like I never really thought about not seeing myself, which is weird. Granted, like in books you can like imagine these characters a little bit more, but I can't do that. But it was like very interesting to like be able to like feel a lot more diversity there. And one of the other books I was reading, One Last Stop, I don't think it's an Asian protagonist, but like it, like at least in like terms of like kind of Gen Z queer representation and stuff too, of like how they decorate their house and all these little experiences and this and that, and like taking the subway to school. It's just like it matters so much, and it's so exciting to see.
But, it's fun.
My little topic on the literature.
How about you guys?
Like as a kid or like
No, just
now?
like recently. Like, how do you feel now?
Recently, I feel great.
Yeah.
I do wish we have a lot more Filipino rep. And also a lot of mixed kid rep, because I don't know, because I like disappeared for a second, but I don't know if you guys talked about this, but like being mixed is hard.
It's hard, bro.
I can only
hard.
imagine.
It's so difficult.
The dichotomy.
It's
It's
so
like it's not just
hard.
mixed for you guys. It's also mixed and then having a completely cultural identity, just being born in a very predominantly white country.
The identity crisis that we go through every day is just like real difficult.
You try to find your place. Like I remember when I was a kid, I tried to like go to like the Filipino side, and they're like, no. And then I tried to go to like,
so
like Pakistanis, and they're like, no. And I'm like, shit, man. I'm like,
where'd I go?
What'd
I do?
Because I'm like,
you try to hang out with the white people, and they just make fun of you.
White people, and then like being too Asian for my school. We had like 5 Asians in our like elementary school, and or even high school or something. We didn't have that many. And then until I went to Toronto, where actually that was where I met mixed kids for the first time, because it's a lot more diverse there. But like going into university, I am far too white to be hanging out with the Asian kids. What the fuck? Filling out like those like diversity applications when you're applying for jobs, at least in the States, is like I always have to go through like whatever, like gender, this and that. Oh, race, 2 or more races, non-Hispanic, whatever. And it's just like, okay, the weird, like the Hispanic thing is like, I don't know, like they like really make that a othering.
But like in Canada, we usually just have like non-indigenous and then indigenous, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird, like how like it's very other, because like they also have indigenous on those applications too in the state side. But
I will say this, like being a mixed kid, and this is something that I've been advocating for like the past like year or two. I stopped calling myself half something. I stopped calling myself half Latino, half Asian, because I've never had to check a box that said half on an application. So why should I have to do it in life?
True.
So why do I need to be like, oh, I'm half Asian, so I guess I can speak half of this? That's not how English works. That's not how identity works. I'm just Asian. I'm just Latino. I shouldn't have to prefix it.
You are both.
Like,
you don't have
both
to
at the same time.
Be less of each.
I have the luxury of being both at the same time. People are just jealous of me, and that's how I've lived my identity for the longest time now. But
and you get to be American.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm American.
Trust me, we might make fun of you.
That part I don't
for
have
it.
to say out loud. But I do agree with Laiba, like seeing mixed representation. That's so difficult because, like, again, like I want to say that I relate the most to mixed people that I see, and that's just like in life, right?
Same.
Like, it's not. It doesn't have to be like culturally specific.
Mhm.
Like, you know, you like all of us, we all relate on a certain level. Like we are all mixed kid. We have like very similar ideas and we have very similar.
Not me.
Well,
I'm not mixed.
It's okay.
yeah, but like,
Well, you still have the
I have
dysphoria
that-
of growing up in a white country,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
isn't the same, but it's
Yeah.
like
Like, I don't want to undermine your guys' experience.
Yeah.
That's the main point.
but
Yeah.
in the idea that like I've met mixed people and they've been like, you know, they've mixed like Afro Latina people, Afro Indigenous people. Like people exist and they're mixed and they feel this identity that relates to them. And I feel like we share a lot of experiences, maybe not like culturally specific, but like experiences that are very similar.
struggling with your own identity
Yeah.
and your culture.
Yeah,
And
I'd
that's-
love to see like a TV show about like a kid growing up
Yeah.
and like
In a mix.
struggling through that.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes the character of like Miles Morales so significantly important and why everyone's so like hell bent that the casting is correct.
Mhm.
Because if it's
Mhm.
not, there's gonna be a lot of
There will be blood.
They will
Yeah.
experience
Because-
Nick's.
'cause
They will become Nick's spirit of
experience
vengeance.
such whitewashing in so many characters.
yeah.
Especially like
Yeah.
the most notable one is Wanda
America
and
Chavez.
stuff right
Oh,
now, and
that.
America Chavez too.
Yeah. So we always
But-
have these like conversations of like, oh,
Mhm.
like I want more mixed representation. That's so difficult to pinpoint
Yeah.
because it's like, how do you
Mhm.
do that? How do you do that?
I-
You need a mixed person in that writing room. You need a
Mhm.
mixed person to play that part.
I'm on my way.
Oh, wait, we're fine. We're
I'm
here.
coming.
Laiba, we're gonna send you into those writing rooms, just
I got you.
flying
I
with like
got you.
papers right
Mhm.
behind you with the solution to most of their
Yeah.
problems.
I actually love. I think this is Tyler. Peter.
Yeah, that's
it's Tyler.
that's
Okay.
It's Tyler.
Hi, Tyler. I love what Tyler said. It's like, why isn't it represented in media? Is because it's harder to sell.
Yeah.
Because we've tried so hard to cater
Mhm.
to the
Yeah.
big men of
Mhm.
Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
But we should get to the point where we don't care. Because
Yeah.
guess what? I didn't care.
And
I didn't care
that's
for the longest
why
time.
To All
I
the
didn't
Boys I
care.
Loved Before is the epitome for me of like realizing like I need to see mixed kids in media. Like I don't know if the actress, I don't think she's mixed in like the same way that I'm mixed or whatever. I mean the little sister who plays Kitty, she looks more like how I felt
You
Yeah.
look
growing up,
pretty
but, like,
Asian.
it's very interesting too because Nick, you're saying like, oh, like I am Latino and I am Asian. It's such a weird experience when your other half is white because you don't really have the luxury of saying I am white,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is weird on its own because
Mhm.
I'm like I kind of see myself, and that's why like I personally Asian coded any black hair, light skin character, or like I guess any white character with pale skin and
Yeah.
like black hair, black straight hair, because like I never really got the chance to be like I am white. Like I always was more on my white or side. Like that's the side of the family that I grew up with, and my mom and my grandma and like 8 cousins and stuff. But it's like it you don't really get to have that nuance in like
Yeah.
media too, and it's like I'd love to see that.
Mhm.
And I wish actually I need to finish watching the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy, but I don't think they would touch on it because it doesn't seem like there was any mixed people in the writing room, but like having like the dad try to cook
Mm.
Korean
Yeah.
food
Right.
That was
Yeah.
in his own way and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that is
And like the idea, we had talked about Asian coding before, like at the start, and then you mentioned it again. I like that is something I do hardcore with. Like my current favorite series is Radiant Black because like
Yes. With
Marshall,
Marshall, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marshall in my
Marshall.
head is Asian,
Mhm.
and because I don't see why he couldn't be. He's like
Mhm.
you described, like he's pale skin, he has black straight hair. It's like that's me right there. If I shaved my mustache and my beard, I could definitely cosplay that guy and feel 100% confident that I look just like exactly like him. I
So
remember
we're
doing-
adding Radiant Black cosplay to your list of
yeah, I'm
things to
adding
get?
Radiant Black to my cosplay list
Mhm.
after Robbie Reyes, and I totally get that because it's like, why not? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with me feeling that way? No one's Kyle Higgins has never confirmed that he is. I don't really care if he does because it's like, well, that's That's
that
still
leaves
me
the door
there.
open, kind
Yeah.
of.
And I appreciate that he leaves that like kind of ambiguity in there, because like that's kind of like where I've existed my entire life, like being in the
Racially
ambiguity.
ambiguous.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember when you read Darkhawk and you were asking me
Yeah.
if the character was also Asian. I'm like, with the name like that and the way he's designed, why not?
Like, why not? And then I remember asking that on like a board, like a message board. I think it was like on comics, like a League of Comic Books.
Yeah.
And someone responded to me and was like, why does it matter if he's Asian? Like, I'm so tired of this woke culture. Like, why? Like, it doesn't matter if he's Asian. I was like, bro, like, it's just a question, bro. I was
Are you
just
sure
trying
it
to-
wasn't that guy?
I thought he
Justin
was.
Brandon lately?
I was just seeking validation. You didn't have to
I'm
fucking
just like,
ruin my
I'm just
entire identity.
asking if he is.
I'm
Like,
gonna
Kind
get all
of
weird about it.
Kind of getting into like, I mean, it's a little bit tangential into racial ambiguity. It's very interesting to see where people put you, but it also kind of goes into the whole Ariana Grande of things and the idea of like, I know it's, I guess
Or it
the
can
term
be
is like East
problematic.
because a lot of people were saying Asian fishing before, but that was coming off of like the black fishing cultural thing, but like it's more so East Asian baiting, because it's always the East Asian ones that like the features are being appropriated, and it's like so weird now, because it's just like, where is that line? Because now I have this fear of when I exist on the internet that they think I'm going to be East Asian baiting. When it's just my face that they're trying to like emulate in this weird way. And I've had it before too. It's like they called me like a white person. I'm like, I'm not just like trying to be racially ambiguous here. Like, this is just my face.
Yeah, we gotta like validate our entire identity. You know, that's
like prove it too.
That's like the most annoying thing. It's like I'd say I'm Filipino, and then someone would be like, "Oh, do you speak Tagalog?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, what a shame." And I was like, "What the fuck do you mean? What a shame? I'm Filipino, all right? Leave me alone."
A guy just come up to me,
That's
just start
like, it's
speaking
not gonna
Japanese.
change.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get so many. Between me and my brother, we're both very ambiguous looking, just because of our features. Whatever, we look very similar, so you can just extrapolate a boy version of me. But
I'll use that filter that you use for TikTok.
Oh no, he can't do that much, but he can do a goatee. But like he worked in retail, which I fortunately haven't done. But like he would get spoken to in like, like Chinese and Cantonese and Japanese and Spanish and Portuguese, and people, at least in high school and stuff, to me they're like, oh, are you indigenous, are you this and are you that? I'm just like, it's also kind of like weird too when it comes to the point of like, oh, what are you?
I hate that question.
I hate that
Hey, what
question.
are you? Hey, what are you?
I'd be like, oh,
person.
I'm half Chinese, and they're like, and what? I'm like, white. What kind of white? Like, I don't know.
Like the colonizer kind.
The thing is, like, I think my grandma was already born in Canada, at least her parents and maybe her parents. So like, we've been around for a while, where I can't just trace it and say like, oh, we are whatever. Like, ancestry
French
told
Canadian
me we
or
are
something like that.
Yeah, but like it's ancestry is just like, oh, it could be French or German. I'm like, who knows? Like, I don't know. Like, this isn't like a question
important for someone to tell me.
It's not part of my identity in the sense that I've thought about, because it's like y'all only see me as not white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either not white or Asian.
Yeah.
Never white though. It's just
what's funny is
never
that like
white. Only on
funny.
the internet somebody might think you're white.
yeah.
What was it like for me? Like whenever someone just sees me though, they're like, "Are you Asian?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yes.
Like you're so tall for one of them. I'm like,
One of them.
I mean,
like,
one of them.
Exactly. And then like I found like the perfect response lately. It's just like, like I am really tall for Asians, but I'm also just really fucking tall for most white people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you punch him. And you punch
That's
downwards.
what you
No, I
just say,
don't
like-
punch people. I kick them, Nick.
All right.
At my height, I
How's
just
the weather
Flick
down?
'em.
exactly.
That's so funny.
But yeah.
Is there any other like big like Asian rep that we appreciate? I think, at least for me.
The rom-com
think about
sphere.
Yeah, the rom-com sphere.
Especially because we've been thinking about this because it's like Valentine's Day month
Yeah.
or whatever. I was trying to look at movies, and it's just like there was so many options of me to put in a list of saying like, here's some awesome Asian-led rom-coms for you to watch, and it's again we've mentioned Always Be My Maybe and All the Boys I Loved Before
Crazy
and
Rich
Love
Asian.
Hard, Crazy Rich Asians. The Big Sick was another good one.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Oh, that one.
I
has
do
Kale
hear
and stuff, too.
Kumail's interpretation of his parents is somewhat offensive, though. So
I saw a couple of takes like that.
yeah,
I can't speak on that, but
yeah.
if he's in the writers, I don't know. Not for
Yeah.
me to decide.
Stepping
but, like,
stones. Hey,
stepping
we're not there.
stones.
We're not there
Stepping
yet,
stones.
but we're gonna get there.
Not everything
that's
is
what's
There's
like
always
perfect,
room for
but
improvement.
exactly.
there was so many options, and like also there's one that I watched recently called Set It Up, and the main characters are white or whatever, but they're trying to set up their bosses, and I'm like, I love how their bosses is fucking Lucy Liu, and like I don't know who the other actor is, but he was a black man, but I'm just like, I love how they put the execs as the people and women of color,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
why the fuck not?
Why not?
We
Why
can be
not?
lovable.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You can be
We
lovable.
deserve to be loved, okay?
Exactly.
Mostly me and Laiba.
What about
They're
you?
single as fuck.
What about you, Johnny? I know the Mr. Watch Shang-Chi in 100 days.
I was gonna say Shang-Chi, but like
I mean, it's super valid.
Yeah.
exactly.
Hey,
Yeah.
But
like whatever
it's
you
just
want.
I don't know. Not to like just put myself in that bubble, but like Shang-Chi has been just the biggest defining point of my life.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I
it's led to this.
I think you're about to
podcast.
say, is it finally wearing you down after 100 watches? I think a film after 100
guys,
watches.
people, 100 watches. Let's be honest here. That's just the beginning.
Go for a
Wait till
full year.
Shang-Chi. Like this
We
ain't
need to have
ending
a watch
until
party
Shang-Chi.
with
Sundays.
Simu Liu for your 365th
Yeah, we got
day.
365. We gotta get
Simu,
Simu.
come on.
690th
Yeah,
day.
like you say, like, oh, Shang-Chi, like playing it down. No, that's fucking important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even my
we're gonna-
brother,
we're gonna-
he
we're gonna
likes
hashtag it.
Marvel, he likes whatever. He's not really too much of an emotional guy because he's an Asian guy as well.
Yeah.
But
Simu
he's
for
just
360,
like, I
365.
cried. I was getting teary-eyed the whole
Exactly.
movie because of it. And it's not something that he's actively thought about it in the way that I have
Yeah.
growing up. So like super valid, Johnny.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no. But like I feel like that's my obvious answer. But to be completely honest, it's been such a defining moment in my life, you know,
Yeah.
where to not say it, to not give it that recognition, to not show it that much love that I do. Cause I don't know what other way I can really do things to help show my appreciation for what that film has done for me, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where I stand.
Oh,
That's why I love Shang-Chi so
Yeah,
much.
we do this because of it. You and I met that
We
way.
do this exactly.
Yeah, dude.
I
It's
did
a
I think
one video on
we
it.
all
Sick movie.
went like that.
I will never forget Victoria's and Laiba's reaction to me just reposting that interview Simu had about just being a kid growing up, not
Yeah.
being able to see yourself as a superhero and all that.
No,
Right?
it was like not being like having your identity being
Exactly.
torn between
Yeah.
Exactly.
you know the worlds that you live in, and it's
Mhm.
still think about that.
That's
But,
how
like-
we all met. Oh.
And just very much so, like because like Shang-Chi helped reinvigorate my connection with
To your
my own cultural identity that I've been severely lacking, you know?
Mhm.
Because like growing up, I'm like, I don't want to be Chinese. I want to grow up Canadian. And now I question what really is it to be Canadian except a melting pot of
Colonizing.
ethnicities, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it very much helped open my eyes, which is
Yeah.
funny.
That's good.
But also just because like Shang-Chi pays so much respect to these kung fu films that I kind of grew up watching with my dad, you know, like he showed me
Yeah.
Ip Man, he showed me Kung Fu Hustle, which is one of my favorite films ever, you know.
Shaolin Soccer. I love Shaolin Soccer.
Fucking love
That's my
Shaolin
favorite.
Soccer,
Shaolin
man.
Soccer movie.
It's such
Shout out
a
to Jackie
weird
Chan. We've not talked about
movie,
Jackie
but
Chan
I
this
love
Oh,
it.
entire-
Jackie Chan!
I love
the
Jackie
Jackie
Chan.
Chan
My favorite actor.
inspiration too. That was
Yeah.
something that reminded me of my dad.
That guy bit
The
so many.
jacket.
Yeah, that guy bit so many bullets just so all of these other
Just
actors
so that
could
we
just
can start
run.
running.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's like he played so many like stereotypes, and it's like looking back at it, it's like yeah, you can look at it and be like it's a problem, but it's like he
can
knew
still
the
do it.
audience he was playing for. He knew what he
Exactly.
had to do in the American like
and that
He
led
knew
us
how the white man saw
here.
yeah, and all this here, and it's like
Yeah.
yeah, I can
Mhm.
look at Jackie Chan and be like yeah, it's problematic, but I can also understand like he knew
He-
the audience that he
The
had to
goal is
play
to
for.
get Jackie
Yeah.
If he
Chan on the
wasn't
show.
in the movies, like they might have still had white guys doing
Mhm.
caricatures of Asian guys.
Yeah.
in movies.
Exactly.
Like
And like,
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I was gonna bring that one up. Like, oh my god, what's the guy's name? Mr. Yamashiro or something like that?
Something. I mean,
Yeah.
even like as much with the what's her face who plays Natasha and
Oh,
Emma
Scarlett Johansson.
Stone, Scarlett Johansson
Yeah.
and Emma Stone have
Playing
been
Ghost in the
played
Shell.
Asian people before. It's like I'm glad we have. I'm starting to move away. From
I really
that.
hope we
Yeah.
have.
I
We'll
think
see.
so.
Please,
Hopefully.
you know,
Interesting.
Hollywood.
Because
We
it's
have a
not
lot
that
of
far
more
along.
Like
Long
Hollywood,
where you
we get
have-
it. You like the big names, great.
Yeah.
Then take some of the own advice
Make-
that some of y'all followers have been giving us and just make some big names
Yeah.
then.
Make some big
Yeah.
names.
Or get
Yeah.
the ones from like overseas.
Hey, get
Look
us,
at
And,
dude.
like,
Simu
oh,
Liu.
I would like to mention that we are talking from a very North American point of view.
Yeah.
As
Yes.
people
Yes.
who were born and grew up
That
in
should be
North
mentioned.
America. From,
So,
and
American
stuff.
movies.
So
Laiba, any properties you love?
I
Codename Kids Next
love Codename Kids Next Door.
Kids Next Door.
No, I love. I'm gonna say Shang-Chi,
Yeah.
but just because we don't have any Filipino representation
Yeah.
We
yet,
will
Yet.
get you guys that Filipino
Yet.
rap.
Yeah.
but
always have sneaky half Filipino people in media, but they
I mean,
play
like,
them
look
off
at
as
Ryan the Last
ambiguous
Dragon. That
and
very
stuff.
much was influenced by.
There's a lot of Filipino
that
culture.
aspect.
In there.
yeah,
of
it
Filipino
was,
culture, but they
It's
never
very
deliberately
mixed. It was
said
like a melting pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. The only
too.
thing
Kinda
about Ryan the Last Dragon is like it got me so excited because I was like, holy crap, she looks like me.
Hmm.
And another thing, it's because I saw a TikTok on this, but they were talking about how like they didn't relate. They're Filipino and they didn't relate to Ryan the Last Dragon, but they related to Encanto.
Yes.
And it's more of like the story of it. And
Encanto is
like-
set, and they drop like the name. I'm pretty sure of what the culture they're pulling from is, right?
Colombia.
Colombia.
Yeah, there we go.
Colombia.
Because like they legitimately like, no, this is this aspect
is
of
Colombian
Latinx culture.
Mhm.
Whereas
Yeah.
with Rise, like we're just gonna go with the
We're
blanket.
Southeast Asian.
So, yeah.
and y'all can go from there.
but yeah, I'm gonna say Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And just thinking about it now. But
Yeah.
yeah, Shang-Chi was actually I'm
Eternals.
gonna say like
You love
look
Eternals.
wise, it's Eternals.
Mhm.
It made me so happy to see Cersei just like talk Icarus down. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
It's just, like even for me as an Asian man, there was something very empowering just to see Gilgamesh with someone like Thena, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause,
Also,
like,
on the topic of Gilgamesh too, I found an amazing
Daddy.
Gilgamesh cosplayer, and I'm like,
Please
yeah,
send him to me.
yeah, you're.
Are you guys
fucking
gonna send it to
Please
me? I haven't
bring
seen
him
this guy.
our way.
Send him to me.
I
like
put
send
come
him our
show
way.
up.
cosplay thing of the Discord.
Okay.
Yes,
Send a
okay.
video, and then
Please
now we're
do.
mutuals. But I'm just like,
That's cool.
so many, fucking,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
important.
no.
I think for me there's like a lot of like animated like
Representation.
American Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man, dude, we gotta shout out what's his name? Dante Bosco, bro. Our
Dante Bosco.
our
Zuko.
Guya, bro. I love Dante Bosco.
Hi, Dante Bosco.
Hi,
But
Dante
actually,
Bosco. Have you ever
wait,
heard this?
Actually, you know what? Like even
We love
Avatar and
you.
the Last Airbender.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Right.
Avatar
Yeah,
Yeah.
Avatar's
because
got a lot.
that was kind of the first thing where I was like Azula, me, but like
Azula,
not like
me.
mentally, obviously.
Yeah. Not
But,
yet.
like,
Well, I just need to piss off Laiba a bit more.
George Takei in
George
Star
Takei.
Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Takei. Yeah, he in
Mhm.
Star Trek. That was.
Oh.
I realized I'm like, oh, that's why my dad fucking loved him so much.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Who's it? George Suzuki or whatever. The environmental guy.
Oh, David
I don't-
Suzuki.
David Suzuki. David
Yeah.
Suzuki. Not George. Anyways. Like I
Um,
remember
You know
seeing him on the
when-
TV and something like, oh, like again, another one that my dad loved. And then like the most recent like Hawaii Five-0 spin-off or
Oh,
whatever.
Daniel Day Kim.
Daniel Day
Daniel
Kim
Day Kim.
in
Who is
that.
going to be Fire Lord Ozai.
Mephisto.
How perfect. Isn't that
We
wild?
can fix him. Laiba, you
I
know I
want
can fix
him.
I
him.
want him as Mephisto too, but Fire
You gotta
Lord
do that
Ozai.
series.
But
man.
oh man, like seeing like that, like seeing people who kind of like, because I always make jokes. I'm like, he kind of looks like my dad, but like it's just like, you know, like the bone structure and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm just like, those are the kind of like things that I saw growing up. I mean, there's like, you get like the side characters and like the sassy friends and like the Hannah Montanas or the rich petty girls
Yeah.
and London Tiptons and stuff. But like,
London
animated,
Tipton was
but like
another
those
one.
those shows, I'm like, oh, that's fucking groundbreaking too.
Yeah.
Every time I think of like Star Trek, like the original Star Trek, I'm like, they broke barriers.
They broke barriers. Yeah. Yeah. It's
First like interracial kiss on
television.
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Just
me.
gotta give props to James Hahn real quick.
Oh yeah.
Like that dude has like an iconic voice. He's gonna be in Turning Red apparently, I think. So
Ooh.
For me, mine's are like very out there because I'm involved in a lot of like different fandoms and stuff like that. But like there was a voice actor who played 2 characters in Riot's games, League of Legends and in Valorant. So that was crazy. That was like really big for me specifically because like I love those games and I play them religiously. It was just really nice to see, and they for Valorant they incorporated like heavy Filipino culture in her character. Like she decorated her room in like pictures of the Philippines, and like you see a little bit of her life. I'll send you guys the intro video because like even though if you don't play the game, you can still like see it. And then like
Please do.
Drop it in the Discord.
well, yeah. Which by the way, you guys be in the Discord. But a lot of it is like her lines of dialogue are in Tagalog, and she has like a Tagalog accent, which is very like comforting for me when I heard it, and I was like, this is life right here. And in the fantasy setting for League of Legends, there's no Philippines, right? But like I still feel like when I hear her voice lines, it's still like she has that heavy Tagalog, heavy Filipino accent, and that resonates with me because I'm like, I love that. It makes me feel like I'm part of this universe that I love so much.
Yeah.
Those are like, that's like a one prominent thing for me, especially like as a Filipino person. And then obviously like I don't shut up about Radiant Black. That's something that's that like
It's important though.
it's important.
that's
to
me with Shang-Chi, right?
Yeah. And it's like it's a series that like I feel like was just made for me specifically, and I'm like, this is like wild because like the whole concept of the comic book, it's heavily influenced by like Power Rangers, which is like a huge part of my life. It is written by somebody who wrote for Power Rangers, which is crazy. And we have characters. We got like a very diverse cast of characters. Like Marshall, again, I think is like racially ambiguous. I headcanon him as Asian. But then we also have
Radiant Red herself,
who is like a Japanese American character, and that is like resonating for me. And they got somebody to write her section of the story, right? In issue 6 of Radiant Black, they got Cherish Chen to write issue 6 because that introduces, oh my god, I'm like blanking on the name. Radiant Red's character as like this Japanese American character, as this Japanese American woman. And it's like she's dealing with struggles of being married, being like in an abusive, like a verbally abusive relationship. How she kind of deals with her debt, and in comparison to like Nathan, who's dealing with his own debt. And it's like she's like portrayed as the villain in the first arc of the comic because she's like robbing banks. She's not hurting anybody; she's robbing banks, and you don't understand it until you read her comic book, and you're like, if I was her, I'd probably do the same thing because of the way that her life is depicted. And it feels so genuine, you know? And we always talk about like getting more diverse writers in the writing room. And it's like, it's a perfect example of that. They did the same. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like today we were talking about like, oh, we're gonna make our own freaking comic.
Yeah.
Laiba mentioned like we're gonna get a Muslim character in there.
Yeah.
And just like,
If
yes,
you want
no, 100%.
it, I'm gonna do it.
Exactly. Like,
why wouldn't we want it?
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm just saying, like, like we need to see it. I'm just not the one to do it.
Yeah.
Because like I think everyone needs to recognize sometimes that like as much as you might want to be the one to make this impact, you have to really ask yourself, are you
Sometimes
the
it's
best
just
person?
hiring the right people.
Exactly.
And getting those stories told by the people who they're about, which is like, it's so exciting to be in this time where Nick, you like that. You were like, I'm so seen by this. This is about me. I see myself in these characters and these experiences and stuff. And like, I'm sure, like, with like even from the little we know about Turning Red, I'm like, I see my like, why are these about us? But I was
It
just
is
like,
very much you, Victoria.
Yeah.
we've
So
never. The thing
cute.
is, because we never had that before.
Mhm.
And it's so exciting because, like, if it's happening to me, if it's happening to Nick and Johnny and Laiba, holy
Who
shit.
else is it happening
happening?
This
to?
is so hopeful for
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you want to commend those times that like they do include diverse writers and creators like in the creative process. Like even though
Yeah.
like Cherish Chen is like writing for Radiant Red, and she's getting her own miniseries, so it's going to be 5 issues just of Radiant Red, which I think is going to be amazing.
Cool.
Keep eyes out for that.
Yeah, and the team at Image and them working on the comic, it's great because they did the same thing with Eva, who's Radiant Pink, and they got a Latina writer to come in and write her story, her section of the story, and her origin story, and it has the same feeling, right? And it's also fun because like she's like a content creator, she's like a Twitch streamer, and it's like. She feels the stress of like being a content creator. It's like that's me right now. Like,
Right?
how do I?
I'm
ask-
all of
sorry,
us.
Nick. I get it. I'll pick up.
You got like everyone has to read this
It's
stupid ass
so
comic
good.
book. It's so
I,
good.
I tried to I tried to go to
trying.
the store and they weren't open for in-store shopping, which was
Yeah.
unfortunate. But
You
like,
know what?
Wait, is it-
Turning Red is written, but like by two Asian women, directed by Asian women. She directed and wrote Bao as a passion project.
It was so weird,
which
but I loved
everyone-
it.
And so many people love that too. And it's just like, she like just going from like working at like Pixar and stuff. Like you gotta like. It just goes to show that we always have to like put an extra effort.
Mhm.
Like if you're not of the like standard privilege and whatever, like those hoops you have to jump through to be able to do that. But then like to be able to tell the stories and have it impact so many people.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we're gonna end this episode on is like, how do you support these creators? Right? You just watch it. You just gotta go
Show your love
watch it.
for it.
You gotta
Tell
go
people
watch
to
it.
watch it.
Talk about
5
it with
stars
people.
in.
Yeah.
Give them 5 stars, even if you don't think they disturb it.
Yeah, you can support
Give them the
us.
5 stars.
We're Asian.
Exactly.
Yes, support us. Like
We like to think we help amplify that, the voices.
Yeah.
yeah.
As the
In
voices of
terms of-
Atlas.
No.
TikTok and stuff and like
Exactly.
supporting us and other minority creators and stuff because it's not just us.
Exactly.
It's like what I always say is like you have to put in the effort to follow these creators, seek out these creators, follow it and watch their videos all the way through, engage with their posts, like it, click the copy button, share it to a friend if you really like it. Like that's the only way you'll be able to hear more of our diverse voices and be able to get those different opinions and see our takes and stuff. Because like a lot of people are like, oh, it's an echo chamber of all the things. It's like that's why you have to put in an effort. Like algorithms are inherently racist a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That's just the data. Data is trained on what exists out there and it ends up being that. So you gotta
Let
put in the
the
effort.
algorithm know. you
Yeah,
like
screw the
main-
math. That was the start of this. That's the start of this
Screw the
episode.
math.
It all
Screw
comes
the
full
math.
A little
circle.
bit more like if you want to support more of these movies and stuff being filmed and stuff and like the success of them, you go
If
to
you
the
like a
movie theaters,
movie-
you buy the tickets, you
You
buy
buy the
the
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
You watch it 100 times.
you want literally even just tweeting about it, posting about it, saying like I'm excited for this movie
Talking to others about it, just have the conversations,
Is- is super important. And then like that also kind of gets you got to get the industry's attention too, because like if you're on Twitter and stuff and you say like point out positive, saying like you did a really good job with this or you could have improved the representation over here, like let it be known that like we want more diverse people in the creative spaces because like
Let's
I
be
know
honest here. The
personally
white
I
guy's
can't.
always gonna think he's right until you get loud enough.
That's what you get
Yeah.
to make him feel real
Yeah.
wrong.
but yeah,
That's what I
just like
did.
and engage and tweet and talk about it because that's the only way that they're gonna see that like
Oh,
it
yeah.
matters and there is an impact and there's a market.
And if you need help doing that, you can follow us on all of those platforms. so you can
Exactly.
engage in those conversations. We are Asian creators, and we always look to.
Join the Discord. You guys can get way more information from us too.
And it's fun. Discord's
It's
fun.
fun.
It's
Because
real
like you
fun.
know what, like with over 100 members in our Discord, we do fun shit. We
Yeah.
might do Among Us. We might do a Smash tournament night. We might do Jackbox.
And it's not overwhelming too.
It's not.
Exactly.
No, I've made a
It's-
lot of channels where you guys can have independent conversations. There's a lot of fun you can be had on there. We talk about.
There's
current
4 of us.
events.
We give a lot of oversight just to make sure everyone is safe
I'm there
and
constantly.
welcome.
I got a bot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm getting more.
I
bots
have
in
no
there.
life.
It's getting so sleek, but
Yeah.
like honestly, like even just like being there, like just ask us questions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
We
fun.
I'm
love
sure
talking
we'll-
to you guys, believe it or not. Like just because I don't respond sometimes does not mean I'm not actively engaged.
Yeah.
Ask
Yeah.
about Turning Red.
Ask about Turning
Yeah.
Red, which, by the way, we're gonna be watching all together.
On March
And we might have
11th.
a special announcement coming this week, maybe
Friday.
beginning of next
we can say,
soon.
but we can say within the next 14 days.
It's just a lot of details we got to sort out. Just know
It
it's
should
very
be
exciting.
it should be next week that there'll be an announcement. It'll be in the Discord, it'll be on Instagram, it's gonna be on TikTok, probably on mine, because I've been doing a countdown
Hell
to the movie.
Mhm.
Those videos aren't doing great, but I don't care. I'm
You
gonna
know,
do
neither
it
is
anyway.
Yeah.
Nick's Radiant Black videos, but
Because
you do
I
it
don't
because you
care.
love it.
People
This is
aren't
like-
talking about it, and we need to be the ones who talking about
Exactly.
it. And like, because eventually something will hit. Honestly,
Exactly.
something will hit, and it's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
But
Then everyone's gonna get hyped for Turning Red.
No, we're trying to get Victoria that promo box for 100% sure. We're
Oh,
trying
We
to get that
want
promo
to
box.
so
We
bad.
want that promo box.
Not even for us.
Like,
It's just for
the,
Victoria.
the color match on my hair
To
right
the
now
banda.
is
So good.
Like
so
guys,
good.
guys, we have May May in real life here.
We do. We absolutely need Victoria to have a promo box. We need to make that happen. But if you want to support us, you can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. And again,
What
you
was
can
the
join
other
that
one your
Discord.
friend mentioned?
We're also
Overcast.
on Overcast, I guess.
Was-
there we go.
Overcast.
Yeah, pretty much, I guess, any streaming platform that you
Yes,
could think
we're
of.
on any streaming
we're on a
platform.
lot of them.
If there
And
isn't
if we're
one,
not,
let us know.
Yeah, let us
You
know.
can tell us in the Discord.
Yeah, please.
We're apparently really pushing for that Discord.
Yeah, we are.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's
Actually,
so
it's fun.
fun.
Yeah. And
I
you
saw,
know,
like,
like
when I made it, I was like stressing out. I was like, "What if this isn't good enough?" And then everyone started coming in, like, "This
No,
is fun."
it is.
I love this.
It is good.
Yeah.
You can use our emotes for free.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Our
not
emotes
just on
are
Twitch.
Angry Victoria, Sad Nick, Laughing Johnny, and Fangirl Me.
Yeah.
I was gonna
guess.
say simping Laiba, but that
So
works
this-
too.
Bad girl.
But also check us out on Streamland, where we've been
Yeah.
watching movies at least once a week, so that's pretty fun.
Y'all can rewatch.
Next week is
Always Be
Free
My
Guy.
Next week is
and
Free
Johnny
Guy.
doing Shang-Chi for the 100th time.
Yeah.
And and any of our past broadcasts
Exactly.
are really fun. It's like if you feel like you need to do some like body doubling or whatever, it feels like you want to hang out with some friends and watch a movie, but like
Yeah.
We
I like
swear.
our Book of Boba Fett
I
one.
swear.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun with the reactions and stuff.
That was a good one.
Book of
Laiba's-
Boba Fett. If
yeah.
you haven't seen the finale yet, watch it.
Watch it with
Let's
Laiba.
watch Book of
Gotcha. Yeah, we got
Watch it with me.
we got a lot of great things coming. So again, follow us on all those platforms.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching today. We appreciate you. It was a good episode. It was a lot of fun.
got very
talked a lot
emotional.
yeah, very emotional. A lot of important topics. But this is a space for all voices that we want to uplift and hear from one another. So thank you again for everybody showing up. We appreciate you. Quick shout outs. Swifty Wicked, thank you so much for the sub. One
Yes.
tier. Hoshi, thank you so much for the follow. It's I can't say this right. It's Valmere. I'm gonna say
Johnny's friend.
Johnny's friend,
from-
thank you so much
Hey,
for coming
yes.
by. Appreciate you. And yeah, that's basically it. That happened today. So we appreciate you guys coming out. I have been your host, Amazing the Kendra. You can follow me on all platforms. It is now uniform, and I fixed all the links in the bottom of the description. Go ahead and hit those.
Yes.
We are fully brand transitioned, so go ahead and hit those. I've been talking a lot about Radiant Black, doing a lot of Radiant Black art. I am on the Radiant Black train, and I'm not getting off anytime soon.
Oh,
I'm
don't worry. We
going-
got big things coming for Radiant
I'm
Black.
going.
Coming on the train.
I'm
Nick.
going big.
We're
I'm
coming
trying to
on the
be
train.
the conductor of this train. Okay, that's
the
where my
conductor.
life is going. Laiba.
Oh my gosh. I'm Laiba Hazara on Instagram and Mixed and Anxious on TikTok. Stay ready for some content.
And Johnny?
And I am
Victoria.
Victoria. You can. Oh, yeah.
No, Victoria, please.
No, go.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
already
You
got
can find
going.
me everywhere at Victoria Organa. As I mentioned, I'm doing a countdown until turning red. It's exciting. It's fun. I have some opinions that I'm going to be posting in the next couple days about kind of the stuff we've been talking about today. So I'd like just check it out. It's fun.
Be there or be square.
Exactly.
And I am the Marvelous Johnny. Correction, there's no the. I don't know why I keep saying the Marvelous. It's just Marvelous Johnny with 2 L's because, Canadian spelling. Y'all can check me out on TikTok. I've been posting a bit more regularly on Instagram. Y'all can make sure that I do watch Shang-Chi every single day on my story there at least. Y'all can see my gym photos. I have been trying to get swole.
You've been killing it.
My back
I
mean,
could
better-
never.
so much.
Better than me. Every
I
time
feel
I
like
see you
vomiting
post and every
every
time I see
single
Tyler post,
time I fucking do.
It's like I'm looking at the same
abs.
post.
I need you know what? One of these
Twins.
days I will get yoked like Tyler. But if y'all want to get ready for some Moon Knight, follow me on TikTok. I got my classic countdowns coming. I'm calling it the Crescent Countdown.
Oh, that's a
I-
good one.
I
I
like
like that one.
That's
That
a
one's
good
really
one.
cool.
Right? I went with Celestial Countdown last time. It worked so well. I went with Crescent.
Yeah.
So.
Crescent is perfect.
All right, but thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate every single one of you. See you guys in the Discord. See you guys on Stream Lounge.
Later.
Have a good night.
Au revoir.
Bye.
bye.